Taehyun was a cheerful middle school boy who dreamed of winning a national championship with his basketball team, until one day during the finals, an opponent crashed into him mid-air and shattered his ankle on the court. After that injury, Taehyun was left alone and abandoned by his teammates until he meets a 30-year-old romantic named Inho, who gives him a second chance to form Team Roman and chase his basketball dreams once again. However, before any of this, two boys sit outside in the cold weather, thinking about how they are going to talk to girls when it is this cold. One of the boys says that this whole problem happens because the other boy's haircut looks really bad and makes him look scary. Right at that moment, two girls walk past them on the road, so the other boy tells his friend with a bad haircut to stand up and go talk to the girls instead of just sitting there. The boy feels very nervous but still walks toward them, and he asks them in a shy way if they are walking alone. The black-haired girl answers him by saying that they are going to keep walking and is not interested in stopping or talking. Even after hearing that, the boy keeps looking at the short-haired girl and thinks that she looks really cute. The short-haired girl takes out her phone and asks him what his name is, and the boy introduces himself as Taehyun. After that, the girl saves his phone number on her phone and tells him that she will call him later. The next day at school, the girls sit together and talk happily about a party that is coming up, and they start discussing how fun it is going to be and what they should wear. At that moment, Taehyun's friend tells the girls that they do not need to spend money to enjoy a party, instead they should just hang out with him and have fun for free. He then tries to wake up Taehyun, who looks like he has no interest in parties or social things at all. However, the girls suddenly recognize Taehyun as the guy who was dating the hottest girl in their department, which makes the situation feel awkward. The girl they are talking about turns out to be the same girl Taehyun met on the street that cold night, and her name is Soan. She walks into the classroom and looks around to find where Taehyun is sitting, but Taehyun quickly hides somewhere. Soan then asks the girls in the classroom if they know where he went, as she keeps looking around for him. After she leaves, Taehyun tells them that she is not his girlfriend but someone he just met before. He then notices that Soan is actually outside, so he tells everyone that she is really the hottest girl in the entire school. Later that day, Soan brings Taehyun and his friend to celebrate the welcoming party and tells them to drink. She tells Taehyun to stop acting so stubbornly and says that he should join the basketball club, but he clearly tells her that he is not interested in playing basketball at all. Even after hearing that, she reminds him that he told her before that he would join, and Taehyun realizes that he only said that to impress her back then because he did not know she went to the same school. Soan becomes very angry, so Taehyun quickly changes his words and tells her that he will join the basketball team so that she will calm down. After that, she takes him to meet the class president and tells the president that Taehyun wants to join the basketball club. The class president looks confused and wonders if Taehyun is actually her boyfriend. He tells Taehyun that he will have to try out if he truly wants to join the basketball club. Right after that, the class president starts crying because he realizes that he cannot flirt with her anymore if Taehyun is really close to her, but while crying, he asks Taehyun if he is her boyfriend. Hearing that, Taehyun decides to challenge him to a basketball match tomorrow, and he also makes sure that Soan will be there to watch the match as well. After that, Taehyun feels very angry at the class president for asking personal question about whether he is Soan's boyfriend or not. Hwang tells him that everything was just a big misunderstanding and that he should not take it so seriously. Right after that, another one of Taehyun's friends named Dongwoo walks over and asks if he thinks he will be okay in the game tomorrow, especially because the class president is really tall. Taehyun says that being tall does not really mean anything to him and that no one is going to defeat him that easily. All of a sudden, they hear a news channel playing in the background that starts talking about Korea's Super Money basketball tournament and how the prize money is extremely huge. When Taehyun hears about this, he realizes that this is actually the same tournament that the basketball club president was talking about with his friends earlier. Even so, Taehyun wonders if people can really believe they can play basketball well just because they watched a commercial, but Hwang tells him that this tournament will become their very first official record. Taehyun then says that the tournament is only for suckers and that they can win it without any trouble, but a man in a suit asks them if they have a dream. He says that kids these days are no fun because all they think about are jobs and grades, so he tells them to follow him because he wants to teach them something. After that, Taehyun, Hwang, and Dongwoo follow the men to an arcade place, where another guy tells them to sit down. Taehyun looks around and thinks that they might really be in an arcade, so the man tells him that an arcade is part of being a man since it is where they can test their strength and their fighting sense. The man then tells Taehyun that they should play the basketball throwing machine game, and he says that if Taehyun loses the game, he must say sorry for all the trash he talked about basketball. Taehyun goes first, and since he has never played this game before, he only gets a score of 48 points, which makes the guy laugh a lot. After that, the guy shows his crazy throwing skills by getting a score of 123 points, and this surprises everyone who is watching. The last ball then goes to the guy's friend, who quickly passes it back to him without hesitation, and he tries to do a three-pointer shot from far away, but it does not go into the basket successfully and instead hits the arcade owner's window with a loud crash. The next day after that incident, Taehyun wakes up in the morning with a terrible headache pounding in his head, but Hwang gives him a business card that the men they met yesterday at the arcade handed to them before leaving. Later, Sohn takes Taehyun with her for his tryouts at the basketball court, but the people there are already annoyed and frustrated waiting for him to come and show up. Taehyun tells Sohn to call him on the phone as he thinks the guy is just messing with him again and wasting their time, but Sohn asks him directly if it's nice to be alone like this again without any friends around. However, Taehyun replies back to her that he just met her recently for the first time, but in reality, Sohn actually knows him from the past when they were younger. Sohn then accidentally spills her drink on the ground, so both of them quickly get down on their knees to clean it up together, but they end up being in an awkward position close to each other's faces. Sohn realizes that this is her perfect chance to make a move, so she slowly moves closer to kissing him, but Taehyun suddenly wakes her up from her imagination. He then asks her if she is feeling okay. Sohn then quickly decides to leave the awkward situation, saying out loud that she has to go get something to drink right now and walks away fast. Once she leaves, Taehyun looks around the entire room carefully and realizes in his mind that this place feels so empty and lonely without anyone else around him. However, something starts banging loudly on the club property room door where it is officially written clearly not to open it under any circumstances. Taehyun tries his absolute best not to look over there at the door and ignore the strange noise, but his second thoughts tells him strongly that he should go over there and check it out to see what is happening inside that locked room. Taehyun then opens the door slowly, but then all the basketballs and other equipment inside lands directly on top of him. One basketball then falls over and hits his head hard, and then it rolls over to Sohon's bag that falls down from the table onto the floor. Taehyun then quickly grabs all the stuff that fell over and scattered everywhere, and he wonders why Sohn left her bag behind when she went to get a drink. Just then, two boys enter the room together and ask Taehyun suspiciously what he is doing inside the club room all by himself. Taehyun is now in a very awkward position as he is holding and grabbing all the stuff from the locker that is clearly marked and said not to open it at all. Taehyun explains that it's not what it looks like and he was just trying to help, but the guy suddenly throws a basketball directly at his face, calling him a thief. At that moment, Sohn enters the room quickly and the guy tells her excitedly that he finally caught the thief who was stealing from the club. Sohn then gets furious at him for accusing Taehyun, and she says that Taehyun is actually here to try out for the basketball club today. Taehyun suddenly throws the ball back directly at the guy's face in response. Meanwhile, the club president is at a cafe spending time with his friends who asks him about his team. He tells them that his team is completed and registered from the tournament, but the other guy says that they still need to find some more teammates. Hearing that, the club president suddenly realizes with shock that he actually had to go to the basketball club tryout today and completely forgot about it. On the other hand, the guy from before is actually taking charge of Taehyun's test right now, and he even keeps calling him a thief repeatedly, which makes Taehyun furious. They both then grab each other's collars tightly and start arguing, but Sohn quickly teaches them both a lesson and tells them to stop being so childish and immature right now. Sohn then tells both of them that this situation is actually for the best, so they should settle this conflict through playing basketball against each other. She does not think the president is coming here anymore, so they will just make this Taehyun's tryout instead of waiting longer. Sohn then suggests that they should bet something important on the game, as the loser has to do whatever the winner says without complaining at all. Taehyun quickly likes the idea a lot and decides to play this one-on-one game where the first person to score 3 baskets wins the entire match. Afterward, Sohn thinks that this situation turned out better than she originally thought it would, as playing with the club president would have been really bad for Taehyun because of the huge height difference between them. However, playing against Wonsok should not be a problem at all for him. Sohn then makes an evil plan in her mind that she will somehow convince Taehyun to join the basketball club after he wins this match, but Wonsok's friend gets scared and nervous watching her scheming expression. Sohn then turns to Wonsok's friend directly and asks him politely to keep track of the score for her during the game. The tryout match between Taehyun and Wonsok then officially begins on the court, and Wonsok does a regular dribble move at the start to warm up, but then he suddenly jumps straight towards the basket that Taehyun is standing in front of and blocking. Wonsok then throws the ball from the distance hoping it will go in, but the ball does not go inside the basket successfully and bounces off the rim. Meanwhile, the club president is desperately trying to call Sohn and the others on his phone multiple times, but they are not picking up their phones. His friend asks him when the tryout was supposed to be, so the president tells them that it was 2 hours ago, which completely shocks them, so they say the people might have left already. After that, the president arrives at the basketball ground quickly and finds them still playing against each other, so he wonders what they are doing there right now. The club president's friends tell him not to interfere with the game as they should just see what happens between the two players first. Taehyun then gets possession of the ball in his hands, and he wonders to himself that Won-sok can actually jump pretty high, so he tries to dribble around slowly to check and test his further skills and abilities. Taehyun quickly realizes in his mind that jumping is all Won-sok is really good at doing well, so he quickly runs past him with his speed, but Won-sok does not give up easily at all and blocks his way to the basket aggressively. Taehyun then throws the ball forward ahead of himself and he quickly runs after it and grabs it with both hands. Taehyun then sees the basket right in front of him clearly and tries to shoot the ball into it, but Won-sok appears out of nowhere suddenly and jumps up to block his shot attempt. Taehyun just pauses at that exact moment and holds the ball close, and when he finally finds a good opportunity and opening, he throws the ball towards the basket successfully. After scoring that, Taehyun tells Won-sok with a smirk on his face that he actually feels a little bad for beating an amateur player like him so easily in this game, even though he is clearly joking around with him. Won-sok then quickly snatches the ball right out of Taehyun's hands with force and says back that he feels the exact same way about this whole situation happening right now too, and he then asks Taehyun directly if he even knows what the coolest and most amazing thing in the sport of basketball really is. Taehyun tries to steal the ball back from Won-sok's hands but fails to get it, and he thinks to himself with surprise that Won-sok has somehow become even faster than he was before in the game. Won-sok then runs straight toward the basket with full speed while saying out loud that the coolest thing in basketball is definitely a dunk shot. He jumps up really high into the air and performs a crazy powerful dunk with a huge amount of height difference from the ground all the way to the basket rim. However, Won-sok almost manages to throw the ball into the basket, but the ball ends up hitting the side of it instead, and he falls down hard on the ground as the ball bounces back and hits him right in the face. After that happens, Taehyun starts making fun of Won-sok and teases him by imitating and copying the exact same words that he says earlier in their game. Won-sok gets really furious because Taehyun is actually making fun of him and teasing him right in front of Sohn, who is also laughing out loud at his jokes and comments. Won-sok then throws the ball directly at Taehyun in anger, but Taehyun easily catches it and asks him if that is supposed to hit him and hurt him. Sohn tells Taehyun to stop all of this fooling around because it is now his turn to go on offense and make his attack on the court. Taehyun gets back to his position on the court and thinks to himself that it really feels like Won-sok becomes faster for just a moment, but he needs to find out if that is actually true or if he just imagines it happening. Taehyun starts running forward with the ball, but then he bounces the ball in the other direction instead and he shows off his sliding dribbling moves and skills. Taehyun realizes that it is just like he thinks it is, because Won-sok is actually catching up to him and getting closer. Taehyun then grabs the ball really tightly in his hands and spins his whole body around to throw the ball toward the basket. However, Won-sok does not give up at all and charges forward really fast to block the throw, and Taehyun thinks to himself that they are going to crash right into each other. He then throws the ball but Won-sok's hand hits it, so the ball just goes somewhere else. At that moment, the club president arrives and tells them that it's enough. He then tries to scold them but Sohn gets furious at him and asks where he has been all this time. He tells her that he has a meeting with his friends who are not around here anymore and have already left. Taehyun then asks the club president if he is always running this late to everything or if it is because he is afraid of losing to him in the game. The club president completely ignores what he says and asks Won-sok who exactly teaches him to treat his opponent in that kind of disrespectful way. He then explains to Won-sok that he tells him to try his absolute best when he is playing basketball games and no matter how weak or bad the opponent actually is against him. Hearing all of that conversation, Taehyun asks them if they are really talking about him right now, but they completely ignore him and continue their talk. Taehyun then gets really furious at being ignored by both of them, so the club president tells Won-sok that Taehyun has never even touched a basketball before in his entire life and he is a very fast learner at picking things up, but he is still just an amateur player who is only practicing the basic skills and moves right now. The club president then tells Taehyun directly that he can definitely join their club if he wants to, but he would only be able to play and participate in some of their university matches and games against other schools. Hearing all of that being said, Taehyun recalls and remembers his past where someone tells him that he cannot make a team with him because he is completely useless and not good enough. Taehyun then gets extremely furious and tells the president that he never even wants to join their useless team in the first place anyway, and in fact he already has his own team to play with. He says out loud that his team is called Roman, which is with the same exact guys that he meets that night when they were all hanging out in the arcade together. Later on, the guys introduce themselves to Taehyun as Lee In-ho and Park Chul-jin, so he knows their names. Taehyun tells them that they really don't have to do all of this stuff for him and help him out, but In-ho replies back that they are not actually doing this just to help him out at all, but if they manage to win this game against the club, they want him to join their team for real and be a part of it. Taehyun hesitates for a moment and doesn't reply right away to their offer, so In-ho wonders out loud if that is a no from him and starts walking away from the conversation, but Taehyun quickly stops him before he can leave. Taehyun then asks them if they need to come up with a game plan and strategy before they start, but In-ho tells him that for right now he should just have fun and enjoy himself. After that, both teams get ready to start the game and they are going to play for 10 whole minutes and switch sides whenever they make a basket and score a point. Moreover, they are going to decide which team is attacking first by doing free throws from the line. First, Daegu, who is the club president, throws the ball up toward the basket and easily scores without any problem at all. Then it is Chul-jin's turn to take his shot and he also throws the ball successfully into the basket perfectly. Now, it is Won-sok's turn to take his shot at the basket and Taehyun tries his absolute best to distract him and mess him up by making noise, but it does not work at all as the ball goes straight inside the basket perfectly without bouncing. After that, it is finally Taehyun's turn to shoot his ball, but just as he tries to throw the ball inside the basket with focus, Won-sok suddenly sneezes really loudly, which distracts Taehyun completely and he ends up missing his shot badly and the ball bounces off the rim. Young-hoon from the president's team also misses his shot badly as the ball just flies behind his back and goes nowhere near the basket. Now, it is In-ho's turn to take his shot and Taehyun quickly remembers the last time he tries a three-pointer shot before. In-ho then throws the ball toward the basket but ends up missing the shot completely, and with that result Daegu's team will be the ones attacking first in the game. Won-sok gets the ball in his hands and he wants to make absolutely sure that So-eun watches this play closely as he will make up for all the embarrassment that she sees from him earlier. Taehyun then quickly tries to steal the ball away from him and take it, but Won-sok just reflexes the steal attempt and moves away from him fast. Won-sok then throws the ball up toward the basket but ends up missing the shot, and the ball just rebounds back off the rim. Both Daegu and Chul-jin jump up at the exact same time to try to get the ball in the air, but Daegu manages to catch it first and throw it inside the basket successfully to score. The score is now 1-0 and the ball goes over to Taehyun's team, and they wonder to themselves if Won-sok is really just an amateur player like they originally thought he was. In-ho then asks Taehyun to pass the ball over to him so he can take the shot himself, but then Taehyun does a fake move to trick everyone and tries to shoot the ball right away by himself instead. Just as Taehyun gets closer and closer to the basket with the ball in his hands, Won-sok jumps up high in the air to try to block him from scoring, but Taehyun then spins his whole body around in a circle and tries to shoot the ball into the basket anyway despite the defense. Daegu then suddenly appears and blocks the shot completely with his hand, saying out loud that he will not let Taehyun score that easily at all in this game. Meanwhile, on another part of the campus, another basketball team is getting ready to enter the court because they want to win the tournament this year. A player asks his captain if he is really sure about this because Daegu's basketball club wins the tournament for 2 years in a row already, but the captain tells him to stop being so weak and scared as Daegu is absolutely nothing in front of his team at all. Just then at that moment, they notice Taehyun, Daegu, and all the others playing on the basketball court right now. At the match that is happening, Young-hoon gets the ball in his possession and he quickly throws it at the basket to try to score, but he misses his shot badly and the ball rebounds off the rim. The ball then gets to Daegu, who quickly catches it and throws it inside the basket with a powerful dunk shot. Seeing that amazing play happens, everyone gets completely shocked at how strong and skilled Daegu really is as a player. Daegu's team is now in the lead with 5 points ahead and Taehyun's team calls for a timeout to talk. Seeing all this, the cosplay club who were watching decided to give up on the university sports tournament. During the timeout break, Taehyun asks In-ho if he is even running out there on the court or not, but In-ho says that this situation is really bad because they are taking over the entire game right now. In-ho then decides to use a special technique that he is going to save for the tournament later, so he wants Taehyun to come towards him in the next attack they make. Meanwhile, on the other side, Won-sok asks Daegu if Taehyun is the only one who is good at basketball on their team, but Daegu thinks that there is definitely something wrong going on here. After that timeout ends, the match finally continues with Taehyun having the ball in his hands and he decides to try out what In-ho tells him to do. In-ho is just standing completely still with Hoon standing near him on the court, and when he sees that Taehyun is running towards the basket quickly with the ball, he leaves him wide open without any defense at all. Taehyun then passes the ball back to In-ho, who catches it smoothly, and Inho then throws up a 3-point shot from really far away from the basket, but it is actually only worth 2 points in a 3-on-3 basketball game format. After that shot goes in successfully and scores points for their team, Won-sook loses his calm and composure completely and decides to attack aggressively without thinking clearly, but Taehyun easily steals the ball away from him without much trouble at all. Taehyun then tries to run away with the ball quickly, but Won-sook also tries his absolute best to block him and stop his advance. Won-sook thinks to himself that he will not fall for a fake pass this time around, but this time Taehyun actually passes the ball for real to his teammate. The ball then gets to Inho, who then tries to throw another 3-pointer shot again, but everyone watching thinks that it is not going to go in from such a far distance away. It turns out that the ball actually goes inside the basket perfectly and Taehyun's team gets another 2 points added to their overall score. Daegu then tells Won-sook to calm down and relax as they are still in the lead right now, and that Taehyun's team only manages to score twice, so it really doesn't matter much. Afterward, the match continues with both teams scoring one after another back and forth in the game. Now, there is only 30 seconds left on the clock and Daegu's team is winning by 1 extra point ahead, but this time Taehyun's team has the ball in their possession. After that, the match continues with Taehyun having the ball in his hands and he just bounces the ball around slowly, thinking to himself that this attack is going to be really important for them. He then goes to the left side first, and then quickly shifts his direction to the right side instead, but Won-sook doesn't give up at all and follows him closely. Inho quickly shouts loudly at Taehyun to pass the ball over to him right now, and then Taehyun passes him the ball across the court. Daegu realizes immediately that Hoon cannot stop him on his own by himself, but then both Won-sook and Hoon charge at Inho together, so he quickly passes the ball back to Taehyun to keep it moving. In a flashback where Taehyun gets the ball and just as he tries to throw it up, another player just jumps over him really high and both of them fall down hard on the ground together. Back in the present, Taehyun's leg started hurting a lot and throbbing with pain due to that past event and injury that he suffered before in his previous game, but he tells everyone around him that it is not a big deal at all and he can definitely continue playing. Taehyun then turns to Soan and asks her how much time is left on the clock in the game right now, so she quickly looks at the timer carefully and says that there is just 15 seconds remaining before the match officially ends completely. Inho then asks Taehyun with genuine concern if he can really keep playing with that injury hurting him so badly. So Taehyun responds back confidently that he can definitely play through the pain because no one on either team wants to end this important match with a draw or tie anyway. On the other hand, Daegu wonders to himself why Taehyun suddenly stopped in midair earlier when he was going for the shot, as he could have easily scored if he just kept going forward. Won-sook then asks Taehyun angrily what is wrong with him as it looks like he pushed him when Won-sook actually fell down on his own without being touched, but Daegu tells Won-sook firmly that he wants him to do exactly as he says for this next play coming up. After that conversation, the match begins again with Inho wondering to himself that thanks to Taehyun's aggressive attack just now, the other team is going to worry about his long-range shooting ability as well as his scoring ability near the basket. Choljin then quickly runs towards Inho's position on the court, so that he can tackle and defend against Hoon more effectively. Furthermore, Taehyun tries to pass the ball over to Inho for a good shot opportunity that could score them points. Won-sook easily tackles the pass attempt and knocks the ball away from its intended path, so both Won-sook and Taehyun immediately run after the loose ball at full speed to try and recover it. Taehyun manages to jump even further ahead than Won-sook and gets the ball firmly in his hands as he crashes down hard onto the ground with his body. Taehyun then quickly slaps the ball with his hand while he is still falling, which then sends it directly to Inho, who is waiting in position. However, due to that crazy and reckless jump that Taehyun made to get the ball back for his team, Taehyun's nose just crashes and slams onto the hard ground surface painfully. After that desperate play happens, Inho catches the ball and throws his special 3-pointer shot that everyone watching is so excited about. Inho then manages to throw the ball inside the basket successfully and it goes in, but Soan immediately tells everyone around that the last shot was taken after the game clock ran out of time completely. Therefore, Daegu's team wins the match with a final score of 9 points to 8 points, and then everyone on both teams just greets each other politely. Daegu walks over to Taehyun and tells him directly that he takes back what he said earlier about him because he thinks Taehyun is actually much better than he originally thought and he wants to see him play again in the SMP tournament coming up. However, Won-sook says out loud confidently that they cannot wait to beat Taehyun and his team in the upcoming tournament easily, but Daegu gets furious at him for disrespecting someone who is older than him without any manners. After that, Daegu's team leaves the basketball court and he thinks to himself that Taehyun's team has not found their color or identity yet, especially Taehyun himself. Daegu continues thinking that it was just a 3-on-3 match today, but he is completely sure they are going to be a real force and strong team once they finally find their own playing style. Daegu then turns to Wonsok and tells him that he should work really hard from now on so that he does not lose to Taehyun or anyone else in future games. On the other hand, Hoon is also thinking deeply about Taehyun's team playing in the SMP tournament that is coming up soon. Inho then tells Taehyun that a promise is a promise as they lost, so he doesn't have to join their team. Taehyun doesn't reply to him and just keeps looking at his hand. In a flashback, Hongwoo and Dongwoo tells Taehyun not to get the wrong idea as they are just here because it's nice outside. Taehyun then asks them why they are still in the basketball club, as they don't even let them practice or use the gym properly. However, Hongwoo and Dongwoo doesn't understand what he means by that, so Taehyun asks why they keep going even though it sucks so much. Dongwoo tells him that he is going to be professional basketball. They then ask Taehyun why he plays basketball because basketball is fun. Back in present, Inho asks Taehyun if he can get a handshake, but Taehyun replies that they would have one if he made that last pass and he don't want to let it end this way. Taehyun then says that he is going to take part in their team but their name is disgusting. Seeing that, Soin can't believe that Taehyun is playing in SMP tournament too. She then calls her sister John and says that she is going to be busy for a while, so she should take care of the practice for her. Later that night, everyone goes back to the restaurant to celebrate Taehyun getting inside the basketball team successfully. They are all drunk and having fun as Taehyun's friend tells him excitedly that he has no idea how much alcohol he could drink 20 years ago when he was younger, but Taehyun responds back that he must have been 30 years old back then if it was that long ago. They both then start talking all kinds of nonsense and random things while laughing, but then Inho and Taehyun decide to go to the washroom together. They're at the bathroom, Taehyun finishes first and leaves before Inho, but he runs into his friend waiting outside in the hallway. Inho then leaves the washroom shortly after and overhears the big guy asking Taehyun seriously if his ankle is doing okay now and if he is now thinking about playing basketball again after all this time. After that conversation ends, Taehyun walks away and leaves, so Inho walks up to the big guy and asks him directly what he was just saying about Taehyun's ankle injury. Inho then manages to convince the guy to reveal everything to him about the situation, saying that he is Taehyun's captain now and deserves to know. The guy then explains that their middle school basketball club was a complete mess and the only reason they had a basketball club was because the school chairman's grandson wanted it. The chairman's grandson is the captain of the team and his name is Sangjun and he is 1 year older than all of them in age. Sangjun then tells Hongwoo to clean the entire gym right now, and the real reason why he keeps making them clean the gym over and over is because he is trying to look really good in front of his grandpa who is the chairman. After that conversation happens, Hongwoo and the other players start cleaning the gym like they are told, but one of them gets really furious and frustrated and says that he cannot take this anymore at all, as they don't let them practice basketball and all they ever do is boring chores. Others also tells Hongwoo to say something about this as he is much better than all of them, but Hongwoo says that they are still juniors, so they need to be respectful. Just then, a boy shows up and enthusiastically says that he is here to join the basketball club. The next day, the teacher introduces the boy to the class, saying his name is Taehyun and he is going to join the basketball club. Taehyun then says that his goal is to win a national championship here. However, there is complete silence in the team, so Taehyun wonders why anyone isn't saying anything. Just then, Sangjun tells him that he is the captain and he will keep an eye on him. 1 month later, Taehyun is furious that he gets to clean everything instead of doing proper training. Just then, Sangjun along with his other buddies and asks what's all this noise about. Taehyun then throws the ball straight at the boy who is smoking right now and says that his hand just slips because he cleans the ball too well earlier. Hearing that excuse from him, Sangjun grabs the ball tightly and puts his cigarette marks all over it, telling Taehyun that it just gets dirty again so he should start cleaning it all over. Taehyun then asks him why he doesn't stop being such a bully to everyone and face him through playing basketball instead. He then says out loud that he hears that he doesn't even qualify for last year's middle school basketball league competition, and that is the main reason why he is so mad all the time now. Hearing those words come out of Taehyun's mouth, Sangjun gets extremely furious at him and tells him to bring it on and start the game right now. After that, their match officially begins with Taehyun showing off some insane skills and moves that impress everyone watching, and he easily gets 10 points for his team while Sangjun's team is only at 2 points total. After the match finishes completely, Taehyun walks up to Sangjun and asks him if something is wrong with him, as the captain is supposed to be the best player on the team but Sangjun is clearly not performing at that level. The next year after that incident, there is only a few days left until the important tournament starts, and Taehyun's friends ask him to come practice in the gym with everyone, but he responds that Sangjun would not let him join the practice sessions. Everyone in the team then comes over to Taehyun together and says that if he showed up here during the day to practice, Sangjun would ruin their entire practice session for everyone else on the team out of anger. Everyone then starts getting ready for their practice session as there are only 2 months left until the tournament in June. However, Sangjun is listening to everything as he is hiding behind the wall. The next day, Taehyun is teaching a girl how to play basketball at the school's rooftop, but she is struggling to even move the ball. Just then, Taehyun's friends show up and say that it's time for practice because the tournament is next week already. Before leaving, he tells the girl that she should come and congratulate them on the day of the tournament because they are going to win no matter what. Finally, it's match day and Taehyun's team manages to make all the way to the finals, so they are not going to let the next match end in a draw. Taehyun's friend tells him that it's too reckless, so they should try to attack as a team and go to overtime if it doesn't work. The match then continues with Taehyun getting the ball and everyone tries to stop him, but he sees that there are already 2 defenders waiting for him near the basket. He doesn't back down and quickly throws the ball that goes straight inside the basket, and with that Taehyun's team wins the match. After the match finishes, a reporter takes Taehyun's interview and asks him questions, saying that his school won the tournament in just 2 years after creating the basketball club, so as the MVP of the entire tournament, does he contribute the most to his school's victory overall? Taehyun quickly replies without hesitation that it is obviously him, the MVP of the team. After that day passes, the news reporter publishes an article saying that Taehyun is the main reason his school wins the championship, but his other friends don't seem so happy about it at all. Just then at that moment, Taehyun arrives at practice and asks them who they are playing against today in their game. So his friend says that they are playing against Yeolji Middle School this time. Taehyun asks them if that is the famous school that is known for bullying other students around, so he doesn't even know that they have a basketball team there at all. However, the other guy thinks that there is something really weird and suspicious going on here because Sangjun arranges this match all by himself and it is strictly behind closed doors with no audience allowed to watch, too. Later on, Taehyun tells his team members not to let the other guys scare them at all because they are just a bunch of bullies trying to intimidate them. The match then continues with Taehyun running forward with the ball in his hands. As soon as he jumps up high to throw the ball inside the basket, another team's player just crashes into Taehyun intentionally and on purpose, making him fall down hard on the ground. Later that day, the team visits Taehyun in the hospital and says that it wasn't that serious. Taehyun tells them that 2 months is a really long period of time for recovery from an injury, so he is going to get back to playing in just 1 month instead. 1 month after his injury, Taehyun fully recovers and gets back to the gym to practice, but he doesn't find anyone there at all. Taehyun's friends say to him that they are used to having one good practice session during the day now, so they don't really need evening practice anymore at this point. Taehyun then tells them that they will have to do the evening practice sessions anyway, but as soon as he leaves the room and walks away, everyone starts talking behind his back about how he is selfish and always thinks about himself only. The next day after that, Taehyun enters the gym to find it completely empty with nobody around, but only Hongwoo is there waiting for him. Hongwoo tells Taehyun that he cannot stay the way he is right now, and as he is going to be a professional basketball player in the future, he cannot have him on the team anymore. Back in present, Dongwoo tells Inho that just like that Taehyun went to another school and they didn't see each other again until they were both adults. The next day after all that happened, Taehyun goes out for some running to clear his mind and think about everything. He finally gets back to his classroom and is super exhausted and tired from the exercise. His friend looks at him and says that he looks absolutely terrible right now, but Taehyun responds back that he does not want to be a burden on everyone else on the team. The guy then tells Taehyun excitedly that he did some research for him about the tournament, but Taehyun says dismissively that he does not want to see it as it's definitely nothing special or important. His friend then reveals with a smile that it is actually the official SMP tournament website, and they clearly say on the website that the prize pool for winning is 50 million won in total. Hearing that huge amount of money, Taehyun completely freaks out with wide eyes and quickly takes the phone from his friend's hands to see for himself. Taehyun then carefully reads the requirements on the website which say that each team must be made up of exactly 5 players and active professional players cannot enter the tournament at all. Only 1 former professional player is allowed per team to participate. Later that day after school, Inho calls over Taehyun to come to the Taejin High School building which looks nothing less than a complete ghost town with no people around. Inside their massive gymnasium building, Inho is already prepared and waiting with their new Roman team uniform laid out. Seeing that uniform there, Taehyun quickly gets up from where he is sitting and decides to leave immediately, but Inho stops him and tells him that it's just temporary for now as he is going to make a completely new one soon. Inho then says to Taehyun that he knows they already met each other before at the court, but he wants to introduce himself properly this time around. Inho says that his name is Inho and he is a romantic 30-year-old man who is chasing after his dreams and passion in life. Moreover, Inho adds more information to the introduction and says that their team's manager is none other than Soan herself who will be helping them. 1 hour earlier before this conversation, Soan told Inho that she wants to be Team Roman's manager, and he happily agreed to let her join because she is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. After that initial conversation, Soan explains other important things about her situation which make Inho realize that she wants to leave the team eventually after some time but still wants to join anyway for now. Soan says that it's all because of Taehyun as he once helped her back in middle school when she needed support, so this time around, she wants to help him out in return. Back in the present, Soan then gets angry at Taehyun and asks him directly if he has any problem with that arrangement they made. Taehyun tells her calmly that the SMP tournament was 5-on-5 only, so what are they going to do about finding the 2 remaining players they desperately need for the team? However, Inho immediately tells Taehyun that they already have 1 more player lined up, who is the second player on their team and also the main reason why they are able to use this gymnasium facility, and he is a member of the teaching staff here at the school. The teacher they are talking about is actually someone who is feared and respected in the entire school by all students, and when he walks through the corridor hallways, everyone just quickly greets him with respect and moves out of his way. The teacher then gets to his classroom where everyone quickly stops talking and making noise immediately, and then he starts laughing like a devil with an intimidating expression on his face. We then get a flashback of Taejin's school. Some boys in the classroom talk about the new Heroes gameplay update that came out yesterday and was released to the public. One of them then notices a post from a basketball player on social media and says excitedly that he has been following this guy for several months now and it's pretty interesting to watch. The boy adds that all the popular high school basketball players in the Taejin area are getting handed to them in one-on-one matches. He further says that it's like an amazing winning streak that keeps going, and except for their school which is the only one that has not been defeated yet by anyone, and he thinks that this mysterious guy is definitely behind the winning streak that goes to their school. Suddenly, they notice a boy being bullied on in the back seat of the classroom by some other students, but the guy then stands up from his chair and walks towards the classroom door quietly. At that exact moment, another guy shows up at the doorway and the 2 boys watching start wondering if this new guy named Ildo is actually the mystery player everyone is talking about because he is tall enough to be him. They think to themselves that Ildo took over the entire school in just 1 month ever since they all started their second year of high school together. Ildo then walks over and smashes the 2 bullies that were annoying and bothering the new guy against the wall, and he asks the guy seriously how long he is going to keep avoiding him like this. After that, the teacher shows up but all the bullies have already left the class. Later in the class, some people starts throwing stuff at that boy once again but the teacher notices that. After the class ends, the teacher calls over Garam to him and asks him if there is something he wants to talk about. However, Garam says that he don't have anything to say and leaves. Once he leaves, another teacher tells Teacher Park that students won't open up to him if he talks to them like that, so he should try to get closer to them first. Back in the present, Soan wonders out loud when the guy that Inho is talking about is actually going to come and show up. Just then at that moment, the teacher brings Garam with him and whispers quietly to Soan and Inho that he is one of his students, and he brings him along to see if he can get to know him a little better because he likes playing basketball and may look like a foreigner from another country. Just then, Taehyun approaches Garam and asks him in English language if he can dunk a basketball and make that kind of shot. He then asks the others around him who this guy really is and if he could be allowed to play in the SMP tournament with them. Garam then quickly steals the ball right from Taehyun's hand with speed and does an incredible dunk shot that shocks and surprises everyone watching. He then thanks the teacher for everything he does and tells Taehyun directly that he can dunk really well, and more importantly, he is actually a Korean person. Later that afternoon, Soan and Inho scold Taehyun harshly for asking stupid questions to Garam without thinking, but Taehyun defends himself and says that he honestly did not know what to do in that situation at all. Inho then tells Taehyun firmly to go and apologize to Garam properly for what he said. Afterward, we get transported to a flashback of Garam's childhood where he shows a bunch of kids excitedly a basketball and says happily that he has to practice every day if he wants to be a basketball player for their country someday. Hearing all of that from Garam, the other kids ask him confused what he is talking about as he is not Korean at all based on his appearance, but Garam tries his best to convince them that he is actually Korean just like them despite how he looks. After that argument happens between them, Garam's grandmother arrives at the scene and scolds the kids harshly for saying all of that mean and hurtful stuff to Garam. Garam then asks his grandma what country he is actually from originally, so she tells him that he is Korean just like her, but Garam says that they don't look Korean at all. She then tells him not to listen to what they are saying because he is more special than everyone else around him. She makes him believe strongly that hating on other people is really bad and he should feel bad for those kinds of people who do that. During Garam's middle school years ago, he first joined the basketball team where everyone wonders why his skin is black and if he can actually dunk a basketball. During a match against the team's captain, Garam shows incredible performance and skills and gets past him very quickly to throw the ball in the basket successfully. Afterward, everyone starts cheering really loudly for Garam except the captain, who looks extremely furious. Later that day after practice, Garam tells his grandma about what happens and he says that he can make it on the team really soon as they are having a match in 2 months from now. Garam's grandma, who is not feeling so well, tells him that she is going to see his match for absolutely sure no matter what. The next day at practice, the basketball team's captain makes Garam clean the entire gym just because he is really good at basketball and he is jealous. Soon enough, it is the match day and the coach decides to take Garam in the match to play, but the captain tells him that they can keep playing without a foreigner on their team. Just then at that moment, someone comes and informs Garam that his grandma has passed away due to heart issues and problems. Garam overhears people talking about how his grandmother was really close to him, but he didn't even get to say goodbye. Later that night, Garam opens up a box which was from his later grandmother. Inside the box, there is a basketball and a letter which says that she is really proud of him and she has to say congratulations to him for getting into the school basketball team. She further says that everything he is going through right now is so that he can become an even greater person one day, so he should keep working hard because he is a special Korean. Garam's mom asks him why he don't want to come with them because he already quit the basketball team ages ago and she just don't feel good about leaving him here all alone. Garam's dad asks him if he is sure about it because living in Korea is not going to be as easy as he think. Back in present, Taehyun calls Dongwoo to help him find Garam. Taehyun tells him that it's just that Inho told him to convince him to join the team after seeing him dunk the ball, but then, they finds Garam in front of them. Out of nowhere, a mysterious guy wearing a mask appears and asks if they are going after that guy as well, so they should be quiet and follow him. After that happens, Garam gets on a public bus to go somewhere, so Taehyun and his friends quickly get inside a taxicab and tell the driver to follow the bus in front of them closely. The guy with the mask on asks the other guy if he is trying to challenge Garam to a basketball game as well, but he replies that he doesn't want to do that at all. Hearing that answer, the guy thinks to himself that if they are not trying to challenge him then they must be looking for a fight instead, but Taehyun says that they are not going to fight anyone at all. In a flashback of Ildo where the teacher informs him that with the school specializing in academics and studying, they decide to close the basketball club down, so there will be no new members joining anymore. Hearing that, Ildo gets really mad and angry because this school is supposed to be the best one around and now he cannot transfer to another school for a while either. Later at the classroom during school, 2 boys try to pick on Ildo and mess with him, but then he beats them so badly that they cannot even recognize their own faces anymore afterward. The boys then think to themselves that Ildo is amazing and really skilled at fighting and they would definitely need his support to take over the entire school in just a month from now. Ildo then asks them if he wants them to do something for him as a favor right now, and in return he will do whatever they want him to do for them. He tells them to give him a complete list of all the best basketball players in every high school around this entire area right now as soon as possible. Later that night, Ildo approaches a guy who is supposed to be really good at playing basketball and tells him to play a match with him right now. During the match between them, Ildo completely dominates the guy using his insane jumps and techniques and moves, and he even finds this way too easy for him. The guy then gets really impressed that Ildo is on a winning streak against everyone, so the other boys tell him that he is even the best fighter in their entire school too. The boy then asks Ildo if he could help Oswell, but Ildo tells him that he is already busy with these two and he is not a fighter but a basketball player. However, the boy says that his information is far better and more useful than the 2 puppets that he already has working for him. The boy then explains that from now on, starting today, he will make anyone who loses against him post about their defeat online on the internet. After that, Taehyun, Ildo and the other guy decide to sneak inside the factory building, wearing masks and fake mustaches to disguise themselves. They overhear 2 people talking about getting basketball players for the prize pool that will improve their competitive spirit and motivation. Hearing all of that, Taehyun wonders to himself if they are actually playing for real money here, but the other boys wonder where Garam is right now. On the other hand, Garam is actually wearing his basketball jersey for the match, and the Korean team wears the red color but the foreigner team wears blue color that includes Garam on it. Garam's teammate feels really bad that they bring him into this whole situation, and due to that mistake, he is going to lose his entire paycheck and money. Taehyun and the others notice that from far away and wonder why he is wearing that jersey on the foreigner team instead of the Korean one right now. Soon enough, the match between the foreigner team and the Korean team begins to start, but surprisingly the foreigners are in the lead already from the beginning. It is the foreigners' attack now and Garam has the ball in his hands tightly, so he quickly runs past every single player of the Korean team easily, but he doesn't throw it in the basket even though he has the perfect chance to do it and passes it back to his friend instead of scoring. The guy then quickly catches it and throws the ball in the basket successfully to score points, which makes Taehyun and the others wonder if he is scared or something else to actually pass it like that instead of taking the shot himself. After that, the ball gets to Korean team's player who then quickly passes it to another but Garam steals the ball. Garam then runs straight towards the basket while the other players follow him closely, and he is completely unmarked with no defenders on him. Instead of doing a proper dunk shot to score easily, he just passes the ball back to his teammate who then throws it into the basket successfully. Seeing that strange play, Taehyun wonders in his mind why Garam keeps hesitating and not taking the easy shots himself. The score for the Korean team is now 8 points while the foreign team is at 14 points ahead. The Korean team is now having possession of the ball and one of the players who is holding the ball runs towards another foreign player and intentionally kicks him hard before throwing the ball into the basket. Seeing that dirty play happen, both Taehyun and Ildo think to themselves that it is clearly a foul, and now they are waiting for the referee to blow the whistle and announce that it is a foul. However, the referee just hesitates and doesn't announce anything at all about the foul. On the other hand, Garam helps the foreigner player get back up on his feet and they think to themselves that the Koreans are playing dirty once again like always. Now, it is the foreigner team's attack to score, but the Korean players keep hitting the foreigner players intentionally on purpose and keep leading the score with much higher difference between them. The game continues just like that with the same dirty pattern repeating over and over, and now the score for the Korean team is 34 points while the foreign team is at 28 points. The game then gets over and finishes completely with the Korean team winning with a final score of 36 points to 28 points, and it is completely obvious to everyone that they played the entire game dirty and unfairly. However, Taehyun and Ildo quickly take off their sweaters and ask the Korean team directly to have a match with them to see who really plays well without dirty tactics. Taehyun then tells Ildo that there is no point in just talking about it anymore, so Ildo agrees and says that they should hurry up and get started. Then he shouts loudly at the Korean team to play a game against them as well. Hearing that, everyone gets shocked and surprised and asks who they are and how did they even get in here. Ildo then tells him that they are not talking to them at all but to the Korean team's coach who is playing for money, and the unfair refereeing that shows a lot during the game. The coach then says that he doesn't know who they are at all, but he thinks they have the wrong idea because this is just friendly competition between teams. Ildo then gets extremely furious at him for lying, but the Korean players act like they are going to call the cops on them. Taehyun tells them that he doesn't care who they call at all, but he wonders if the owner of this factory knows about all of this as he hears the coach talking about him earlier. The coach then asks what they actually want from them, so Taehyun says that they should play a game against them for the money he just steals from the foreigners in the match. The coach then asks why they should do that at all, as judging from the size of them standing there, they don't look like basketball players at all even though they are pretty tall in height. Furthermore, the coach says that if they let them start with a handicap, they would think about it, so Taehyun gets furious and says they will give them 10 points. Hearing that, Ildo tells Taehyun to make it 15 points but then both of them says that they will give them 20 points. The coach then tells them to wear the foreigner team's uniform and get ready, but they are still a few players short for the game. Taehyun then says that they are going to take some players from the foreigner team to join them and play. After that happens, Ildo asks Garam what he is so scared of right now and if this is all he really has inside him. Taehyun asks Garam if he also thinks that those old guys are a complete disgrace to Korea and their country. Meanwhile at another location, Inho wonders if Taehyun can convince Garam to come back to their team successfully, but Soin informs him that he gets a text message from Dongwoo just now on his phone. She says that he wants them to go to a factory location where Taehyun and the others are playing a match right now against someone. At the factory, the match between Taehyun's team and the Korean team begins with Ildo snatching the ball away and it goes to Garam quickly. He thinks about his past memories as everyone believes in him back then at that time, and then all the Korean guys try their absolute best to stop him from scoring any points. They manage to steal the ball from Garam easily without much trouble, and then they manage to score the points before anyone could stop them from doing it successfully. Taehyun and Ildo get furious and say that they don't usually like team play at all, but they would make an exception this time and work together as a team properly. The match then continues with Garam running forward with the ball but then he notices the Korean players blocking his way ahead. He passes the ball to Taehyun instead. Taehyun then runs straight past a Korean player really fast that shocks and surprises all the others watching. Taehyun then throws a slow ball straight towards the basket, which makes the Korean player think that it will not go inside at all, but Ildo appears out of nowhere and catches it and throws it inside the basket successfully. However, the player tries to steal the ball from Ildo during the play, but he falls on the ground hard due to his incredible physique and strength. Taehyun and Ildo wonder to themselves that the referee misses a foul again on purpose, but at the end of the day, they all are on the same side working together. At the same time, two players who look too old to play basketball arrive to meet with the Korean coach, who tells them that they might end up playing in a game this week for him. The match then continues with Korean team leading with 10 points. Ildo then manages to block another throw which leads the ball to get out of the bounds. Dongwoo then hears the thoughts about his past where the people used to make fun of him sitting on the bench during matches. They used to talk about how he is so tall but he doesn't have any talent and no stamina or determination. Taehyun then tells Dongwoo not to worry about anything as he will get them back for him. Afterward, the match resumes with a Korean player running behind Dongwoo, but Taehyun notices that. Another player then throws a pass to him, but Taehyun intercepts and the ball just bounces away. Taehyun then gets the ball, so the other players are trying their best to mark him. The Korean player and Ildo are waiting for Taehyun to pass or shoot the ball, but he doesn't and he just swings around with the ball. Ildo then quickly moves his hand higher towards the basket, but Taehyun doesn't pass the ball to him and instead he throws it inside the basket himself. Ildo then gets furious at Taehyun for fooling him, but Taehyun just scolds him for being a complete idiot because he was fooling the opponent. Meanwhile, a foreign player asks Garam how he know those people as they are really good and he is glad that he don't have to play on his own anymore. Now, the score is 26-18 and the Korean team calls for a timeout to talk, and they even make the substitution with the two new guys coming in. At the same time outside, Inho, Soan and the geezer arrive at the factory where they notice Taehyun playing on the court. The match then continues with Taehyun and Garam passing the ball to each other back and forth, but Taehyun then faces the new guy and wonders how good he really is as a player. He then quickly spins around and tries to run away from him, but the new guy keeps up with him without any problem. Taehyun then leaps up high to get the ball back in his hands, and at the same time the new guy also jumps, but he intentionally pushes Taehyun hard in the AIR.AT. That moment, Taehyun gets the flashbacks of his past injury incident where another player collided with him and he fell. Taehyun then falls on the ground really badly, which makes Ildo extremely angry, so he tries to punch the new guy hard, asking what the matter with him is and why he does that. Surprisingly, Taehyun stands back up and tells Ildo that it is not a big deal at all, but they get shocked and ask him if he is really okay and if he is just going to walk away like that without doing anything. Outside the court, Choljin gets furious and tries to get onto the court himself, but Inho stops him quickly, saying he is a teacher so he could get in serious trouble if he gets mixed up with the team. Inho then decides to go in there himself to help out, but then a geezer approaches him and tells him that he doesn't know much about basketball at all, but what just happens there doesn't look fair to him at all. He then asks Inho if he would explain what just happens in that play, so Inho says that the team in red just commits a foul on purpose, but he is in a big hurry right now, so he has to go as his friends will tell him more about it. However, the old man says that he would like to hear more from him directly because it is his factory building and he gets the feeling that he should know about this situation happening. Afterward, it's Korean team's attack. The players just intentionally pushes Taehyun throughout the match and scores their point. Dongwoo then asks Taehyun if he is okay, but he says that he is just pacing himself, but Ildo says that if he is tired then he should just stay out of his way. The match then resumes with Taehyun thinking that there is no point trying to avoid the Korean players. The ball then gets passed to Taehyun and he just charges forward, but then he feels pain in his ankle, so he passed the ball to another foreigner. However, the Korean player just slaps the ball out of his hands, which causes him to fall on the ground. During timeout, Taehyun tells the foreigner that he should get some rest as they are going to need a substitute for the second half, so he asks others if they are interested. However, none of the players say anything because they are just scared and tells them that they never agreed to play this game in first place and with their skills, they might get hurt. At that moment, the ugly rat-faced Korean player makes fun of them for being scared cats. Just then, Inho and the others also arrive and say that they were actually waiting for them. The Korean players ask where these people come from, but Inho notices that a man is hurt, so he just runs towards him. Choljin then tells the guy to stand aside because he is their teacher and supervisor, but the Korean coach says that it doesn't matter if he is their teacher or not at all, because as long as they are not registered as a player at the start of this match, they cannot join. Meanwhile, Inho asks Garam if they get permission from his parents when he is hired here to play, but Garam says that his parents are not in Korea right now, so they don't get permission from them. Inho then tells the Korean coach that Garam's guardian Chuljan doesn't remember signing anything for him, so would he like to talk to the police about this whole situation, or should they just start the second half of the game? The coach then quickly agrees to start the second half, so Inho tells everyone to remove those ugly jerseys and put these Team Roman uniform. Soan then gets furious at Taehyun for not telling her that he was going to play some match here. Then, Soan decides to record the match on her phone because this is Team Roman's first away game. The second half begins with Ildo playing amazingly than before, so Inho tells him to take things a little slow. Inho then realizes that the best way to change the flow of the game is to throw a three-pointer shot, so he shoots it. The ball then goes inside the basket successfully, but Inho starts shouting loudly that a Korean player pushes him when he is shooting and he breaks his ankle badly. However, the player doesn't do anything this time at all, but Inho hopes that this ends up on the video recording. The referee quickly sees that Soan is recording on her phone the whole time, so he finally gives the Korean team a foul and gives Taehyun's team a one free throw opportunity. Inho then tells Garam and Taehyun that it is time for them to stop playing scared anymore, and they should play for real this time and show their skills. On the other hand, the coach tells his rat-faced secretary to stop the woman from recording the game anymore and make the Korean players push the other team harder. At that moment, the factory's president arrives and tells the coach that she is just recording a video of their factory's athletic competition, so they should not stop that at all. Afterward, Inho throws a four-pointer shot from far away that surprises everyone watching the game. Inho then tells Taehyun that he doesn't always have to face his problems head-on all the time, as sometimes he can go around them or find another way to do things differently. However, Taehyun has no idea what he is talking about at all, so Inho says that he still has a lot of room to grow as a person, so he is trying to teach him the flexibility of a 30-year-old man. Inho further asks him if he thinks being a 178cm player at 23 years old is a little different from being a 178cm player in middle school back then. Taehyun wonders if he hears something about him from someone, but Inho says that he doesn't hear anything about him at all, and he shouldn't worry about them fouling anymore because he has taken care of everything already. Earlier, Inho told the president that the coach of his factory is stealing employee salaries by calling it a prize and there is illegal employment as well. The president says that he saw the unfair refereeing himself, but he hasn't seen the other things yet, so it would be wrong to judge the whole based off a single incident. The president reminds them that he don't think they are lying, but he is going to find the truth himself, but Inho tells him to keep an eye on what happens and just do one thing for him. Back in present, the Korean team is freaking out that Inho's team is going to cross their lead. The Korean player then shoots a three-pointer shot, but the ball hits the basket and rebounds. The Korean players then tries their best to stop Ildo using their weak foul, but he grabs the ball and quickly slaps it to Inho. Ildo then tells Garam to get it together as Korean players are nothing without their fouls, so what is he so afraid of? After that, Inho passed the ball to Taehyun, who thinks that this isn't a height issue for him and if he can't solve this problem, there's nowhere for him to go. He then quickly runs past the Korean player and then jumps to throw the ball that almost goes inside the basket, but it rebounds. Out of nowhere, Garam appears from behind and throws the ball back in the basket that shocks and surprises everyone watching. Garam thinks about his past where no one would believe that a black guy like him could actually dunk a basketball at all. He then suffers all his life because he thinks that he is alone in this world, but when he meets Taehyun and his team, he realizes that for the first time in his entire life, he is not alone anymore. He also thinks about the time when his grandma tells him that he cannot play basketball all by himself and needs to work with other people, and that he is a special person who needs to find good people to be around. Afterward, Inho tells everyone on the team to give the Korean team a cool look, as giving such a look to bad guys in times like this is really great. Inho's team then shows great performance, which leads their score to 40 points while the Korean team is at 32 points, and with that final score Roman wins the game. Taehyun then asks the coach of Korean team to give the money he stole, and just as they are about to give, the president reveals that he heard everything from Inho. The president then says that Inho told him that the wages has been getting stolen for quite a while, so he would like to hear about it from one of their own employees. Later, Inho takes the team in their new trashy van, which is named Roman Mobile. Taehyun is actually sitting congested between Ildo and Dongwoo, but Inho tells him that he can't sit in the back because Garam and he have something to talk about. Earlier, Garam told the president that this competition started 1 month ago under secretary and the supervisor's orders, and many of them were forced to participate on the foreigner team against their will. He then adds that they had to pay money in the form of a participation fee, and they always ended up losing due to unfair refereeing. The president then thanks Garam for speaking up, and as the owner of this factory, he will resolve this issue right now. He then tells the secretary who organized this matter and supervisor Yoon to be demoted immediately. Moreover, the Korean staff members who participated in this match will be reviewed by a disciplinary committee formed by a number of foreign employees, but the Korean employees who stood by and allowed this to happen will receive penalty as well. Lastly, the president tells supervisor Yoon as his father that from now on, he is a regular employee and not a supervisor, and then he apologizes to everyone, saying they will get their money back. The president then bows down in front of the foreign players and apologizes on behalf of his son. That shocks everyone there, but then everyone helps him get back up. Moreover, the president then thanks Garam personally and asks him if he would be willing to stay with the company as a representative of their non-Korean employees working there. However, Garam refuses the offer politely and says that there is someone else who is more suited for that role than him. Back in the present time, Inho asked Garam what he has to do now for them. Garam then asks Choljin if he can play in that tournament with them, as he feels like he has to ask his permission first because he is his guardian and responsible for him. Hearing all of that, Choljin starts tearing up with emotion, but then he proudly says yes to being their coach, and then everyone starts celebrating the victory together. Then, they arrive at a basketball court where Ildo wants to play against Garam as he always wants to for a long time. Ildo then asks him if he is trying to run away again like he does on this court last time they meet, but then Garam finally remembers Ildo from that night clearly. Ildo then passes the ball to him and says that they should find out who is better at basketball among them. Inho then asks Taehyun how he met Ildo in the first place, so he says that he is a high schooler who goes on a winning streak against a bunch of other high schoolers, so he is sure he is really good at basketball. After a while of playing, Ildo loses to Garam with a final score of 10-4 points, but Inho then gives his business card to Ildo to make him join the team and then leaves. The next morning, Taehyun and Dongwoo arrives at the court early to practice. Taehyun throws a shot towards the basket, but it gets to his friend's hands, who then starts laughing at him for throwing such easy shots. Taehyun then asks him if he ever heard of a floater, which is going to be his answer in a lot of ways. He then asks Dongwoo if he wants to go back to playing basketball like old days. Later at school, the same guy who with Wonsok asks Soen where Taehyun is, but then, Taehyun enters the class and asks what he wants. Taehyun then asks him if Wonsok sends him here to challenge him and why he is calling him a dude when he doesn't even know him personally. The boy then says that he is here because he wants to join Team Roman and play with them. Later that day, two boys are walking in the hallway when they get bumped into a massive guy, so they wonder if the basketball team is back from their suspension already. Everyone then starts talking about how these guys get into a fist fight with a bunch of bullies, and because of that fight the bullies get beat up badly, so no one considers them as just basketball players anymore. One of the basketball players asks another player who is using the gym right now, so he says that it is a group of second-year bullies, and one of them even beats all the third-year students while they are gone away. At the gym, Inho says that they should meet some of their new members now, and the three new players introduce themselves to everyone there as Daeshik, who doesn't know anything about basketball at all but is a good soccer player instead. Another player is Lee Sungtae, who is good at sports in general, but he thinks he will be decent at basketball with some practice. And lastly, it is the ace of the Banchong High School basketball team named Park Chul. They then say that the main reason they decided to join the team is because they want to help their boss Ildo out with whatever he needs from them. Just then at that moment, Garam shows up with his new haircut and introduces himself once again to everyone, saying that he played basketball when he was in middle school and his biggest dream is to become a basketball player for Korea. After that introduction, Ildo introduces himself to the group, saying that he never learned how to play basketball properly or got any training, but his dream is to become a basketball player for the Korean national team. Inho then decides to introduce himself properly to their new team members as well, saying that he is the captain of Team Roman and he wants to welcome them, but then suddenly the ex-basketball players enter the gym from the door. The guys named Inwoo and Daewoo tell Roman to get off the court as it belongs to the Taejin High School basketball team only. Ildo then asks him if he knows them personally because he doesn't like the way he talks to them, but Inwoo says that he doesn't have anything nice to say to a bunch of bullies like them at all. Inho then tells both of them to stop talking right now as these students are here because they want to play basketball and they get official permission through Choljin, who a teacher is here at the school. However, Inwoo says that the Taejin High School basketball team still exists right now and this is their practice area, and more importantly, the team never allows outsiders to come into their gym during their practice time ever before. Meanwhile, a teacher tells Choljin about the school getting rid of the basketball team, and players getting suspended is a big factor in all that happening. The female teacher then tells him all the details about the reason why those students are suspended from school. At the same time, Taehyun, Soen and the new glasses guy from before entering the gym and find Inwoo and his buddy leaving the building. Inho tells him that they decide to play a game against those students, and it is 2 weeks from now on Sunday afternoon. Later that night, Roman holds a celebration for their new members joining the team, but Taehyun is still thinking seriously about them having to go against those Taejin basketball players soon. Taehyun tells Inho with concern that he cannot just schedule a match like that without thinking, because even if they are high schoolers, they are still better than most people who play basketball, and Taejin High School is one of the best basketball schools in the entire Taejin area. Inho responds back and says that they do not have a choice in the matter because it's true that the gym belongs to the students of Taejin High School, and it's actually ridiculous for them to let outsiders play a bunch of students for the rights to use their gym in the first place. After that conversation, Choljin explains to everyone that not long after the start of the new semester begins at school, an anonymous video was posted on the Taejin school website for everyone to see clearly. It is a video of a fistfight between the basketball team and a bunch of bullies fighting each other. At the same time, the parent-teacher organization is pushing for the school to specialize in academics and close down all athletics teams completely. Moreover, the video is a critical blow to the basketball club, and in response, the club members argue that they are fighting to protect a student who is getting bullied badly. Then, the student they are protecting ends up saying he never gets bullied in the first place at all, and then the team receives a group suspension and the school decides to get rid of the basketball club entirely. Inho then tells them that if they end up winning the rights to the gym, they can just share it with the basketball club members. After that, Inho asks Young-hoon to introduce himself properly. Young-hoon tells them that he was going to join Daegyu's team, but he came to Roman because he felt like they weren't the right team for him. Inho says that even though he is not tall enough but he can play well, but Young-hoon says that he didn't come here to be a player, he came here because he wants to be the head coach of Roman. Taehyun says that they cannot just appoint an unproven stranger as their head coach because a head coach should have a lot of experience and knowledge about basketball. Young-hoon then tells everyone properly and in detail about Inwoo, who the main scoring threat for Taejin High School was, and Vice-Captain Daewoo, who is a skilled point guard on the team. Young-hoon says that if they can stop these two key players, then they can win the match easily against them, and then everyone starts celebrating their night together happily. The next day after they arrive at practice, everyone tells their position and basketball experience to Young-hoon, so that they can decide and create a proper strategy for the team to follow during games. Young-hoon then says that today they will focus on getting used to this team play style, and since Sungtae and Daeshik are beginners at basketball, they should practice dribbling skills with Soin helping them out. After that conversation ends, everyone starts practicing their skills, but Young-hoon asks him if Dongwoo is not playing with them in the match. Taehyun says that he is busy with work right now, but Hoon says that he would have been helpful if he played this match with them. Taehyun tells him that Dongwoo and he are in the same basketball club back in middle school together, but he is always a substitute player back then. Young-hoon then asks him if he can go see Dongwoo and convince him to play the match with them. Meanwhile, Dongwoo's dad asks him where Taehyun and his friends are playing basketball these days, but Dongwoo replies that he honestly has no idea at all. Dongwoo's dad then asks Dongwoo if he does not want to play with them too and join their team, but then Young-hoon suddenly enters their shop through the door. Young-hoon and Dongwoo both get very awkward and uncomfortable for a while as they look at each other, but Young-hoon apologizes for coming here like this without warning. Young-hoon then says directly that he is here to ask Dongwoo to play as Roman center in the important match against Taejin High School. Young-hoon explains that he heard Dongwoo played as a center in middle school before, so Roman really needs someone experienced as center, especially in this crucial match. Dongwoo replies back that he does not think Young-hoon should be asking him because he was just a substitute player and he does not have any real match experience at all, but Young-hoon says that he already saw the video of Dongwoo playing at the factory. However, Dongwoo replies that he doesn't think he can do that at all, and even if he joins him for his match, he cannot keep playing for Roman. He explains that he needs to stay here and help his father with the business, as he cannot afford to prepare for the tournament and play basketball at the same time. It is the day of the match, and everyone gets to the stadium including Taejin's vice principal and the parent-teacher organization members. Taehyun wonders what they are doing here at the game, so Inho says that Choljin and he do something special to bring them. Earlier that week, Inho visits the vice principal's office to say that they are playing a match against the school basketball team. And he wants him to give the students a chance to show everyone how serious they are about basketball. Back in present, Young-hoon tells the team not to be nervous and he will assign them their positions. He explains that they will have Inho as their 1, Taehyun as the 2, Garam as the 3 and Choljin as their 4 and lastly Ildo at the 5. The numbers here represent the players' positions. Furthermore, Young-hoon informs the team that Taejin High School does not have any information about them or their playing style, so he thinks they should hide Inho's 3-point shooting ability for now, and they will go with man-to-man defense strategy. On the other hand, Taejin's players Chulsu and Minsu wonder out loud why there are so many people here watching today. Inwoo says that there is nothing to worry about at all, as they should just do what they always do every game. Inwoo then asks them where their teammate Hundo is right now, so the other guy responds that Hundo might be sleeping somewhere and did not show up. Afterward, both teams get on the court ground to start warming up, but Young-hoon tells Taehyun specifically to keep an eye on his teammates' play during the match. Taehyun then asks Young-hoon what happened with Dongwoo and if he talked to him, so Young-hoon says that Dongwoo will definitely come to play. The crowd wonders who is that handsome foreign guy in Team Roman and when was the last time they saw the basketball club members play. The match officially begins with Inwoo managing to get the ball to his side during the tip-off, and the ball gets passed to one of Taejin's players very quickly on the court. Suddenly and unexpectedly, Garam steals the ball from him with his fast hands and incredible speed and runs forward towards their basket to score, but the Taejin players immediately start following him very closely from behind. Earlier before the game starts, Young-hoon tells everyone clearly that they may have borrowed their gym for a while to practice their skills, but this is still Taejin High's home ground and court and they need to seize the momentum for themselves right away from the start. Young-hoon explains in detail that they have to push them hard from the very beginning of the game without holding back, and he wants them to attack aggressively and confidently as soon as they get the chance to score any points at all. Back in present, Garam manages to throw the ball in the basket, which surprises everyone as they can't believe how he almost jumped from the free throw line. They further think to themselves that the pink team is no joke at all, unlike the basketball club, so they wonder if their basketball club is nothing but a bunch of has-beens now. Inwoo then tells Daewoo that they cannot help it anymore, as they better show them something impressive too. The match then continues with Daewoo running forward with the ball in his hands, but Inho keeps following him closely behind and he runs away quickly when Inwoo blocks Inho's path. Daewoo then throws the ball towards the basket to try to score, but Inho shouts out loud that the shot is too early, so it is going to rebound off the rim, but Inwoo grabs the ball in midair and slams it into the basket with force. After that, everyone starts cheering loudly for the basketball team, saying that it looks just like an NBA game. The match then continues with Choljin getting the ball in his hands and the other team's player wonders to himself if he is really the ethics teacher at their school. Choljin then pushes the guy around with his body and throws it towards the basket to try to score, but Inwoo blocks the shot completely with his hands. The ball then gets to Ildo, who then again tries to throw it in the basket for points, but he fails to score as Inwoo hits the ball away from him. The rebound ball then gets to Garam after bouncing off the rim, but Inho tells him not to get too excited about it, while Taehyun says that he should just pass it to someone else instead. Garam then tries to throw the ball up toward the basket, but Inwoo just jumps up once again to block him. However, Garam completely dodges him in midair with his movement and throws the ball back into the basket successfully for the score. Seeing that, everyone gets shocked and wonders who is that guy. Just then, another guy shows up and thinks that with that height and skills, it's just too much of a cheat code. Afterward, Garam gets the ball in his possession and the mood changes completely whenever he gets the ball, as everyone thinks that he is doing everything on his own without help. The other team's player tries his absolute best to stop him from advancing, but then Garam just throws the ball towards the basket with confidence. After that play happens, Team Taejin decides to make a substitution with their new player who is going to turn around the table and change the game. Inwoo then gets furious at him for coming late to the match. Inwoo then tells him that Garam is his opponent to guard, but the guy says that he has been watching him play this whole time already. The ball then gets to the new guy, who asks Garam if he is a foreigner or Korean person, but Garam doesn't reply to him at all. In a blink of a second, the guy runs past Garam easily and goes straight towards the basket to score. He then runs past two players of Roman at once without any trouble and easily throws the ball in the basket successfully. After that amazing play, the match continues with Taejin High having 6 points while the Romans team is at 8 points. This time around, Team Roman is attacking with the ball in their possession and the ball is with Ildo, who thinks to himself that he is not going to get beaten this time around by them. He then notices Inwoo behind him watching his moves, so he looks around to find someone to pass to, but then the new guy steals the ball from him quickly that goes to another player of Taejin team. After that steal happens, he passes the ball back to the new guy, who is running straight towards the basket with speed and determination, and Inho wonders to himself that he is outnumbered by their defenders, which means that they can definitely stop him from scoring. Inho then tries his best to block the new guy, but he quickly dodges him and jumps straight towards the basket. At that moment, Garam just jumps up high and taps the new guy's hand lightly, which loses his balance completely and the new guy falls down hard on the ground. However, the ball then goes inside the basket anyway, which counts as a score, and not only that but Team Taejin gets a 1 free throw opportunity as well. Seeing that play happen, Young-hoon says out loud that there was another strong player that Team Taejin was hiding from them the whole time. At the same time outside, Dongwoo enters the hall to watch, but the match is going extremely bad for Team Roman right now. Taehyun thinks to himself that this can get really dangerous if they get a 10-point lead ahead of them, and their player Inwoo is also dominating the entire area under the basket completely right now. Moreover, he thinks that it is just too early to show Inho's 3-point shooting ability as well, but he has no idea what else to do because Garam seems to be losing on that side as well against the new guy. He then remembers clearly that Young-hoon tells him to keep an eye on his teammates' plays during the match, but at that moment he doesn't understand what he really means by that. Taehyun then gets furious and thinks that he is the main character here, so he is going to lead the team himself from now on. He then grabs the ball tightly and quickly runs past the guy who is about to block him. Afterward, Taehyun quickly goes to the other side where another tall player from Team Taejin is standing, and he is confident that he is going to stop Taehyun easily. Taehyun then jumps up high and throws the ball towards the basket to score, but the tall player tries his absolute best to stop it, but he couldn't as the ball turns out to be a floater shot. However, the ball doesn't go inside the basket easily at first, so everyone thinks that it might be a rebound coming, but then the ball goes inside the basket successfully. Taehyun then tells Ildo, Garam and Inho to get it together and focus on the game right now. At that moment, Dongwoo is also watching the match quietly from the sidelines by himself. We then get a flashback of Dongwoo's past where Dongwoo's mother passed away at such a young age, and everyone around them wondered how he is going to grow up without his mother in his life. Some people even suggested to his dad that Dongwoo should play some kind of sport or activity, which will brighten him up a little and help him cope. When Dongwoo grew older over the years, the same people started calling him fat and said harshly that he has to lose some weight for his health. After that difficult time, Dongwoo met Taehyun and their other friend who became close to him. When Taehyun asked Dongwoo what he wants to do in the future, Dongwoo told them both that he wants the three of them to stay together forever, but that dream did not happen at all. The other friend made the decision to go to Seoul for high school because it is a strong basketball school there, but then Taehyun also decided to transfer schools and Dongwoo was the only one left alone. After that, Dongwoo gets into high school where everyone told him that it's different from middle school level. Just because he is big and fat, he is going to work on his stamina a lot or else he won't be able to play basketball. One day, Dongwoo gets back home where his dad tells him that he was thinking of selling the business and opening up a small restaurant, and his dad wants him to keep playing basketball. However, Dongwoo tells him that he decides to quit basketball as it is not that fun anymore and he doesn't think he likes it anymore at all. He then says that he wants to work with him in that restaurant together because that would be much better for both of them. Afterward, the story shows a flashback of Young-hoon and Dongwoo where he tells Hoon that he cannot afford to prepare for the tournament and play basketball, as he is big and tall but he doesn't have any skills at all. Young-hoon tells him that he used to be in the basketball club until high school too, and he is always a substitute because of his size and never gets to play a match ever, but he still likes it very much and decides to be a head coach instead. Back in the present time, Taehyun's ball just rebounds off the rim, but Inwoo gets it in his hands, so Ildo just hits it out of his hand hard. The ball then goes to Garam, who then throws it straight in the basket perfectly and tells Taehyun and Ildo to focus on the game. Meanwhile, Dongwoo's dad encourages him to go and play basketball because their store looks too cramped with both of them sitting in there together, so he will hire a new employee to help out. Finally, the first half of the match ends completely, so Dongwoo walks over to the team and asks if there is a spot for him in there to play. Afterward, Young-hoon decides to reorganize the positions for the team with Choljin coming off the court for the second half, so he wants Dongwoo to take the 5th position as center player. Next, Ildo will be playing in the 4th position forward and Garam will stay as the 3rd position player on the team. This time around, Taehyun is going to play as the number 1 point guard, but he just snaps at Young-hoon with frustration, saying that he cannot play as the point guard position at all. Inho then agrees with Taehyun and says that it's completely true because Taehyun is way too selfish to be a point guard who needs to pass, but Young-hoon tells them both that it's not true at all. Based on what he has seen so far in the game, he knows Taehyun can handle this responsibility well, and Taehyun has been keeping an eye on his teammates' play during the entire first half, which is very impressive and shows leadership. Young-hoon then tells the team to plan for the second half, saying they need to focus on controlling the area under the basket, and if they double-team Inwoo together then they will do really well against them. Meanwhile on the other side, the Taejin's player tells his teammate Minsu that Choljin, who is the substitute, looks really big and strong physically, but Minsu is not listening to him at all as he is completely lost in the thoughts of him playing so badly against Taehyun earlier in the first half. Minsu then recalls his past memories from previous games and wonders to himself that he cannot mess up again this time, or else it is going to be his fault all over again like it was before in those matches. Inhwa then walks over to him and tells him not to worry about it at all and just do what he always does best, so they are going to win no matter who comes in for the second half anyway with their skills. The second half then begins with both teams heading to the court to play again. This time around, Dongwoo is starting off the play as center and he manages to tip the ball on his team's side that surprises Inhwa completely. However, the ball then gets to the Taejin's player after a quick pass from a teammate. Choljin then asks the coach that isn't it better to put Ildo on Taejin High School's number 8 players instead of Dongwoo right now. Soin says the same thing, that based on their size and athletic ability, she thinks it is better for Ildo to guard him instead, but Young-hoon says that the biggest factor that sets Taejin High School and Team Roman apart is having an experienced center player on the court right now. Young-hoon tells them that Dongwoo says that he is always just a substitute player back then, but he doesn't think they can underestimate his experience playing as a center during the entire time he is in school before. The ball then gets to Inhwa, who then tries to do a dunk shot to score, but Ildo smacks the ball out of his hands forcefully and stops him. After that play, the ball gets to Inhwa, who tries to shoot again, but Ildo and Dongwoo block him from all the sides together. Just then, Inhwa passes the ball back to Minsu, who then throws the ball in the basket, but it rebounds off the rim. In a flashback of Dongwoo where someone tells him that good positioning is one of the most important factors when it comes to rebounds, and in order to get into a good position, he needs to be able to box out opponents. Back in the present time, Ildo manages to get the rebound ball, and Young-hoon thinks that the synergy between Ildo and Dongwoo will be a key strength for Team Roman in matches. Afterward, Taehyun gets the ball in his hands and he quickly runs as fast as he can towards the basket at full speed. The new player who is actually running after Taehyun thinks to himself that he got him cornered, so there is nowhere for Taehyun to pass the ball to anyone, but then Taehyun passes the ball to Ildo, who ran there like a maniac at full speed and scores the goal easily. Now after that play, Taejin High's score is 37 points while Team Roman are still at 26 points, and the ball is with the new player from Taejin High. The new player then quickly passes the ball to Inhwa to continue the offense, but Ildo tries his absolute best to block his shot attempt, so Inhwa passes the ball to the new player at the last moment, and the new player then scores the points by throwing the ball into the basket. Inhwa then says good luck with those rebounds to Ildo and Dongwoo if they can get them. Seeing that, Young-hoon thinks that it's okay because the fact that they are getting cautious about it is good enough, and now, they have a new point guard. The ball is with Taehyun now, but the new player looks around towards Dongwoo and thinks that it is a screen play, and when he looks at Inho, he thinks he is the one who is free and open. Taehyun quickly runs past the guy and tries to perform a dunk shot, but Soin thinks that his trauma is still there affecting him. However, Taehyun throws a floater instead, but everyone thinks that it is not a high percentage shot, so it is going to rebound off the rim. Surprisingly, the shot goes inside the basket successfully, but Soin is still worried about Taehyun and his mental state. After that play, the match continues with Taejin's team having the ball and the other player wonders if he is going to pass or not. Inho then quickly snatches the ball out of his hands, which then goes to Taehyun immediately. Two players from Taejin starts running after him, so Inho yells at him that it's 2-on-1 now. After that amazing play, Taejin's player tries to stop Taehyun before he gets the shot opportunity, but Taehyun uses his Ultra Instinct ability to completely dodge him with incredible reflexes, and then he throws the ball into the basket successfully. Seeing that incredible move, Inho thinks to himself that Taehyun's playing style is pretty individualistic and focused on himself. The match then continues with Inho throwing the ball towards the basket, but it hits the rim and rebounds back out, so everyone on both teams just jumps at it to try and get possession of the ball. Ildo loses control of the ball in the scramble, but it gets past to Garam quickly before anyone else can grab it. Garam then starts running towards the basket with determination and speed, but the opponent team's player blocks his path aggressively, so Garam makes the smart decision to pass the ball back to Taehyun to continue the play and keep the offense going. Everyone watching thinks to themselves that Taehyun is not going to pass the ball to anyone else, so they all try to surround and block him from scoring. Inhwa then appears out of nowhere and extends his arm high, so that he can block the shot attempt, but Inho yells loudly at Taehyun to pass the ball to him. Taehyun quickly passes the ball back to Inho, who is surprised and shocked. Afterward, Inho manages to shoot a three-pointer shot that surprises and shocks everyone watching, and now Roman's score is 33 points while Taejin are still at 39 points. Inho thinks to himself that the pass from Taehyun was absolutely perfect, but Taehyun tells him that it's good to see him finally get started by the second half, and he should keep going with that energy. The match continues on with the opponent team's player having possession of the ball, but he quickly passes the ball to Inwoo, who is already getting blocked tightly by Dongwoo. Inwoo then switches his direction suddenly and throws the ball into the basket successfully. After scoring, Inwoo walks over to Ildo and says smugly that it looks like Ildo cannot stop him on his own after all. After that play, Taehyun gets the ball in his hands, but the opponent player who is blocking him thinks to himself that Taehyun could pass the ball as well now, so he wonders if Taehyun is going to pass or drive this time. Just then at that exact moment, Inho shows up and tries to set a screen to block the player, so Taehyun does a drive move and runs straight towards the basket with speed. Just as Taehyun is about to jump up and throw the ball into the basket, the Taejin's player calls out loudly to Minsu to stop him right now. After hearing that call, Minsu quickly extends his hand up high to block the shot attempt, so Taehyun just passes the ball back to Inho instead of forcing it through the defense. Taejin's player believes confidently that there is no way the ball will go in again, as it is definitely going to rebound off the rim this time, but Taehyun just smiles confidently at him and says that if he thought Inho was going to miss, he would not have given the ball to him in the first place. Afterwards, Inho catches the pass and throws a three-pointer shot that goes straight into the basket perfectly without touching the rim, and everyone watching is surprised that Inho manages to throw 2 three-pointers in a row successfully. The score for Roman is now 36 while Taejin High is at 41, and the situation between both teams is getting insane. Minsu from Taejin gets the ball and he runs forward, but then, he passed the ball to his other teammate. Dongwoo notices that the guy is running straight towards him with the ball, so he tries to block and defend, but Inwoo just pushes him aside with force. Inwoo then gets the ball from the guy and tries to do a powerful dunk shot, but Ildo jumps up and blocks it perfectly, which causes Inwoo to fall down on the ground hard. Everyone watching then starts saying loudly that Ildo threw him on the floor, which is actually shameful for the team captain as he just got owned completely. Ildo then looks down at Inwoo and tells him confidently that he can totally stop him on his own without any help, but due to the push that happened earlier, the referee blows the whistle and calls it a foul on Dongwoo. Meanwhile, Young-hoon thinks that this puts Ildo at 3 fouls, which is actually bad for him and the team. Taejin's player then gets 1 free throw, but he totally missed it, but then, the match continues. Inho then tells Taehyun that they have done well so far, but they need to do something to really seize the momentum. He also thinks that his hand is capable of creating the most romantic situation right now, which actually creeps out Taehyun. Meanwhile on the sidelines, a red-head guy tells Young-hoon excitedly that they are only 6 points behind already and it looks like they are starting to take over the game completely. Young-hoon responds and says that things are definitely looking good right now, but Taejin High has been scoring consistently as well, so it's very important to stay calm and composed in this situation. The match then continues on the court with Taehyun passing the ball to Inho quickly, but the opponent team's defender is closing in on him fast. Young-hoon is worried that Inho is just being hasty and rushing his shot, but Choljin tells him reassuringly that Inho has been practicing his shooting skills ever since he was in elementary school, so if he can focus purely on shooting instead of anything else, he will not make a mistake at all. After that play, Taehyun gets the ball and he easily throws the ball in the basket successfully, and then Garam scores another point right after. Following that, Inho also throws his usual three-pointer shot that goes inside the basket perfectly, and with that score Roman is in the lead with 2 extra points ahead. Seeing that happen, everyone in the crowd thinks that the basketball team is going to lose at this rate for sure. They even think that Roman is even cooler and better than their school's basketball team, and this makes Inwoo angry, so he calls for a timeout immediately. During the timeout break, Inwoo asks them what the matter with them all is, as it is not like they already lost the game yet. The other guy of Taejin tells them that Roman just takes the lead from them and they just need to turn the momentum back in their favor right now. He further tells his team that they can totally take the lead again without any problem because Team Roman has a big weakness right now they can exploit. Meanwhile, the vice principal thinks back to the time when he was first appointed as the vice principal at Taejin High School years ago. He then calls Inwoo over to his office and tells him that he has been hearing stories about how the basketball club isn't as good as it used to be anymore. He further says that the parent-teacher organization is arguing loudly that sports teams are not necessary for the school atmosphere at all. Moreover, he thinks that the voice of the parent-teacher organization is very important and powerful in Taejin High School, and it is going to be difficult to keep the basketball club running under these difficult circumstances they are facing. He then tells Inwoo to maintain his behavior properly and stay on his best behavior at all times and not get in any kind of trouble with anyone, then he will try his absolute best to keep the basketball club alive for all of them to play. Back in the present time, Ildo's friends are actually in some kind of weird neighborhood area where they are here to find some guys who might be hanging around in the PC room or playing pool or something similar like that right now. One of the boys then looks around carefully at the picture of people that they are going to find and thinks to himself that it doesn't seem hard to find them at all. They further think that this is the first time Ildo ever asks for their help and support, and they have to find the guy no matter what happens before the match is over today. However, they also think that Ildo is going to beat the whole basketball team by himself anyway with his skills. Back in the match, the ball is now with Taejin's player who is running towards the basket really fast, but Taehyun quickly tells Dongwoo to crush him and stop him right now. The guy then jumps up high to throw the ball in the basket, but Dongwoo tries his absolute best to block it, but the guy passes the ball back to Inwo, who then tries to throw it in for the score. Ildo gets him from behind and blocks a clean shot perfectly. Ildo then gets another foul called on him from the referee, so Young-hoon says that he already has 4 fouls now and the player with 5 personal fouls is disqualified from the match completely, and this is exactly what Taejin High is aiming for this whole time. Afterward, Taejin gets 2 free throws because of Ildo's foul that he commits. Inwo tells Ildo that he is young enough to play along with him and make a complete fool of himself on the court. Young-hoon then decides to do a substitution of both Dongwoo and Ildo with 2 other players from the bench. Sohn asks Young-hoon why he is taking Dongwoo out of the game too right now, so Hoon says that Dongwoo looks really tired and exhausted as well from playing. However, Sohn thinks that they should at least keep one of them on the court to defend, but Hoon says that they need both of them together to take control of the area under the basket properly. He then tells Dongwoo to recover as much energy as possible while resting and tells Ildo to not get too comfortable as he has to go back in soon enough, but until then they will just have to leave it to the players who are out there right now on the court. Ildo is actually furious as he thinks back to his past where he was on his winning streak against schools, and Taejin High was the last one remaining which could lead him towards his dream to become a basketball player. After that memory, the match begins again with Taejin High taking all the rebounds easily because of Inwa's tall height advantage, and Choljin and the other guy think to themselves that they cannot compete with his height advantage at all. The ball then gets to a Taejin player who catches it and then quickly jumps up and throws the ball in the basket with a powerful dunk shot. Seeing that amazing play, everyone gets surprised and wonders if that move was even possible to do, and how good the basketball club really is. The guy then puts his hand on Garam and tells him to try hard next time. Inho then tells everyone to calm down because in times like these, they need to make sure they score without making any mistakes, and it's true that they are weak under the basket right now. The match then continues with Garam having the ball, but Inho shouts at him to not be too hasty and pass the ball right away. However, Taehyun realizes that Garam wants to get back at that guy for what he did earlier, so Taehyun decides to hold back the defender while Garam quickly dashes forward with speed. Garam then jumps up and does a powerful dunk and manages to throw the ball in the basket that surprises everyone watching closely. Everyone in the crowd then thinks to themselves that Roman is not going to lose this match either, as Garam threw the ball down right in front of the Taejin player aggressively and confidently. The match then continues on without stopping, with the Taejin player and Garam going against each other physically for the ball, and this time Garam manages to completely block out the guy from getting the ball with his body, but the ball bounces over to Inwo, who catches it quickly and then throws it in the basket successfully. The guy then walks over to Garam and tells him that if he gets an advantage in position then he has to use it no matter what happens. Seeing that play, Ildo stands up from the bench to get ready to go to the court, but Young-hoon stops him and says that it's not his time yet to go in. Sometime later in the game, Taejin High has 65-point score while Roman are at 58 points, so Young-hoon tells Ildo that they cannot afford to lose any more points at all, so he is going to send Ildo and Dongwoo to the court now. Afterward, Taehyun tells Ildo not to play scared just because he is in foul trouble right now, so Ildo tells him not to worry about it at all as it will not be happening again from now on. The match then continues with Inwo getting the ball and he is going against Ildo, but everyone wonders if Ildo is going to be alright because he is on 4 fouls already. Earlier, Ildo tells Young-hoon that he will mark Taejin High's captain himself, but Young-hoon says that he is 1 foul away from being out of the game completely, and if he gets fouled out, their team will be in serious danger. However, Ildo says that he will not get a chance unless he faces this challenge head-on directly, and it is going to be hard for them to win if they cannot stop Inwo anyway, so he wants Hoon to trust him completely. Back in the present moment, Inwo tries to shoot the ball in the basket and tells Ildo that he will not stop him if he keeps playing so distracted like this. After that shot, Inho gets the ball, but he is going against Minsu, who thinks to himself that Inho is going to try to get a 3-point shot chance no matter what happens, but he will not let him do that at all. Inho then quickly shoots his 3-pointer shot without hesitation that goes inside the basket successfully, and with that shot Roman is still in the game and not letting them get away with the lead. Inwo then notices that Minsu is actually furious and shivering at this point from frustration. But then Inhwa tells his team that there is not much time left on the clock, so they should attack aggressively and mark their man tightly. The ball is with Inhwa, who is going against Ildo on defense, and he is trying his absolute best to push away Ildo, who is not letting him get away that easily at all with tight defense. Just then, Dongwoo and Inho arrive and try their absolute best to push back Inwoo and stop him. The ball then gets to Minsu, who shoots it toward the basket, but it just rebounds off the rim. But the ball still gets to another player of Taejin, who takes a lot of time to shoot properly, so Taehyun snatches the ball from him quickly. The ball then goes away from everyone, but Minsu quickly jumps high and grabs it in midair. He then passes the ball back to Inwoo before falling hard on the ground, and just as Inwoo tries to shoot the ball, Ildo slams the ball out of his hands forcefully. With that play, the referee gives Ildo his 5th foul. The story then shows a flashback of Inwoo and Minsu, and it looks like both of them are having bruises on their bodies. Minsu then apologizes to Inwoo and says that this fight happens because of him, so why does the entire basketball team have to get suspended from school? But Inwoo says that this is the whole team's business and responsibility. Minsu then tells him that he will tell the teachers everything honestly, and if he takes the blame and leaves the basketball club permanently. But Inwoo says that someone finds a place to practice while they are suspended from school. Back in the present time, Inwoo tells Minsu that he just saves the basketball club right there with that block, and then Taejin High only makes one free throw before Team Roman calls for a timeout break. Young-hoon then tells him that Taejin ends up getting only 1 point in a crucial situation, and if they cannot score on this attack play, it is going to get really hard for them to win, and a lot of that depends on Taehyun in this next play coming up. Afterward, the timeout is over and both teams get ready to head back to the court, but Inho and Taehyun notice that Ildo is feeling really bad about what happened. Taehyun tells him that he knows he tells him not to play scared earlier, but of course he is going to get ejected if he plays like that so aggressively, but still it must feel good to show the other team's player who the real boss here is. He then tells Inho that he is going to take care of the rest of the game, so he should just sit back and watch from the bench. However, Inho asks him if he is even tall enough to do anything useful out there, but Taehyun tells him to speak for himself as he gets kicked out of the game already. Soen then scolds both of them for fighting with each other instead of heading to the court real quick right now. After that, the match continues and everyone is just eagerly watching and wondering who is going to win this intense match. Earlier, Young-hoon tells his team that currently, Taejin High is beating them under the basket, which means it is hard for them to score from close range at all. Furthermore, Hoon says that it leaves them with only Inho, Taehyun and Garam, and they have to assume it is going to be hard for them to get any rebounds if they miss a shot out there. He further adds that based on the score difference and Inho's shot percentage so far, they need to go for a three-pointer shot in this next play coming up right now. Back in the present time, Team Roman is going to start their play with Inho and Choljin, who have the best teamwork on their team right now on the court. Taejin's player is blocking Inho tightly and closely, but Choljin appears from behind him to help, so Roman's plan completely flops because Inwoo gives the signal to his teammate already beforehand. However, Young-hoon thinks that Taejin High is probably expecting Inho to shoot too, and this is why they are going to give up on the rebounds completely. Dongwoo then blocks the player hard, so Inho can get away from there quickly and freely. After that, Inho shouts loudly at Taehyun to pass him the ball right now, but Taehyun thinks that it is going to be a total loss and Garam needs to keep moving around to find open space. Earlier, Young-hoon told the team that everything he said so far is just his prediction, as they don't know what could happen once the game is underway, and that's why Taehyun's role is especially important. Back in present, Taehyun runs with the ball and he then quickly throws the ball in the basket. After that, the match continues until the time gets over completely, and with that final buzzer Taejin High wins with the score of 74 while Roman is still at 65 points. Inwoo then thanks Inho for giving them this opportunity to play against them, but then Inwoo looks at Taehyun and remembers something from earlier. Earlier in the game, Inwoo tells his team that there is a high chance that Team Roman will go for a three-point shot, so he expects them to put a screen on Hyunwoo to stop it. Back in the present time, the vice president tells everyone that the gym is going to be used by the basketball team because the basketball club players win the match today. Just then, the parent-teacher organization members arrive and ask why he invites them here. The member of the parent-teacher organization says that just because the basketball team wins doesn't mean they are special at all, but the vice principal tells her to listen to what he has to say. Just then, Ildo's friends manage to bring two people that they are looking for all this time. Inho and Taehyun ask Daeshik and Sungtae where they have been because they are supposed to be here and play basketball with them. The vice president also recognizes them and says that they are Daeshik and Sungtae from Year 2, Class 4 students. However, the boys completely ignore everyone and just ask Ildo who that guy is and how does he know them personally. They further think that the guy is too old to be a student, but Ildo grabs both of their heads and makes them bow down in front of the vice president, saying that he is the vice president of their school. Daeshik and Sungti explain that the basketball team doesn't fight on purpose at all, saying in their school, the bullies and the sports team always have a bad relationship with each other over time. Things are especially bad because the bullies cannot beat the sports teams with pure strength alone, so the bullies make a plan to get rid of those guys for good permanently. The next day, they turn their eyes to a second-year student named Yonghan as their target. He is a quiet guy who is friends with the basketball team members, and he is the perfect target for the bullies to pick on. The bullies then beat up Yonghan really badly, but Minsu tells the bullies to stop hitting him right now. The bullies ask Minsu what he is going to do about that, and if he wants, he should just hit them and see how the basketball team gets taken down afterward. Yonghan then leaves the classroom, saying he will deal with his own problems by himself. The next day, Yonghan gives money to the bullies who then start making fun of his parents and family. Hearing that insult, Minsu gets into a fight with the bullies immediately, but the conflict that starts with Minsu grows into a fight between the bullies and the entire basketball team together. Seeing that happening, Inwoo tries to avoid fighting until the very end, but Sunjul threatens to end Minsu's playing career forever, which provokes Inwoo to start a fight just like the bullies want him to. Back in the present time, the parent-teacher organization members say that the story is already proven to be false by the disciplinary committee, and Yonghan denies everything back then. However, Yonghan then says that he is threatened by them and they say they would leave him alone if he doesn't say anything about it. Yonghan explains that once Minsu started playing basketball, they drifted apart and he became alone. That's when the bullying started, and he convinced himself that it was all Minsu's fault. Furthermore, he says that if he waited any longer, he felt like it would be too late to save the basketball team and his relationship with Minsu. The parent-teacher organization's ugly-headed member says that the basketball team is still involved in the fight, so she cannot do anything about it at all. The vice president tells her that this will never happen again, and if it does, he will take full responsibility and resign from his position immediately. Sometime later, Inwoo tells Inho that they don't mind sharing the gym with them from now on anymore, but Inho says it feels wrong because they make a deal in front of everyone there. Just then, Donghwa's dad shows up and say that they should go back to his place to celebrate Roman's first away game today, but Young-hoon says that he wants to go home instead. Taehyun strictly tells him that he is coming to the party whether he likes it or not because he should blame himself for today's loss, as there are a lot of unexpected variables that happen. Meanwhile, the vice president calls over Choljin and thanks him for clearing up the misunderstanding about the basketball club. He then says that the reason he called him here is because he wanted to ask him something, but before asking, both of them takes another sip of their tea. The vice president then explains that in order to keep the basketball club alive, the parent-teacher organization is requesting two things from them. First, the basketball club must secure a high place in the nearest basketball tournament, and second, they must appoint a faculty member to lead the basketball club and keep them out of trouble completely. So, the vice president thinks that Choljin is the one who fits both of these criteria perfectly. The president says that this school has the wrong idea about the basketball club and sees them as problematic students, but the only ones who really listen to the students and give them a chance are him and Inho. On the other hand, Team Roman is celebrating their loss against Taejin High together. Inho then asks Taehyun about his thoughts on Young-hoon, so he says that he never hates him that much and not every coach has to be a former player at all. While everyone is celebrating their loss together, Garam asks them where they practice now. So Hoon says that there is a place he knows of and it is used by other teams too. Just then, Choljin arrives and informs everyone that he will not be able to play in SMP with them anymore. Hearing that, everyone gets shocked and surprised and asks what he is talking about right now. He explains that the basketball club needs a teacher for it to stay alive and he decides to be the one in charge of it instead. Inho then asks Choljin if he make up his mind, so he says that he did, then there is nothing they can do. Later that night, Choljin asks Inho if he is really upset about the decision, but Inho doesn't say anything at all. The story then shows a flashback. In elementary school, Inho first approaches Choljin and says that they should play basketball together because he looks like the toughest one around here. However, Choljin is furious and tells Inho to get lost before he beats him up really badly, but Inho says stubbornly that he is not going anywhere at all. After that moment happens, Inho starts following Choljin everywhere he goes, from the washroom to fights and even when Choljin uses to escape from school early in the day. In the end, after all that persistence, Choljin finally agreed to play basketball with him and asked Inho how does he actually play basketball properly. After that agreement, they both went to the same middle school together and created their own basketball club there, but Choljin was so sad when he had to move away and could not play with Inho anymore. Back in the present time, Choljin tells Inho emotionally that he would have been completely alone if it was not for him being there. Inho then tells him that there is nothing to be sorry about because it is his choice and it is for the basketball club students' dreams to come true. At the same time, Soin tells Taehyun that she has never seen Inho look so upset about something, but Taehyun says that he is just acting so that no one could say anything to him. Moreover, Taehyun freaks out and asks why he always has to walk her home every time, but at the end of the day, he is more worried about her hitting someone than something happening to her. Soin then gives him a gift and says that she is glad he starts playing basketball again and tells him to use that when he thinks of her from now on. Confused, Taehyun asks if she is going somewhere far away, but Soin says that it is time for her to leave Team Roman now. However, Taehyun thinks that she is just joking around, but Soin says seriously that she is completely serious as this is something she already discussed with Inho beforehand. It is a little earlier than expected, but she thinks he will be fine without her now. The next day after practice, Inho asks the team if everyone has recovered from the intense match against Taejin High School. Inho further says that they gained valuable experience, Coach Hoon and Dongwoo as new members through the match against Taejin High School, but they also lost two important things in the process. Moreover, Inho says that Choljin would prepare a special gift for them before leaving so suddenly, as he is making official uniforms for the entire team, so everyone should write down the number they want to have on their jersey. Meanwhile, a guy is flirting with some girls on the campus when he suddenly notices Team Roman's ongoing meeting happening nearby. Inho says that he is afraid that he will have some more bad news. Soin has left Team Roman as well. Hearing that, everyone gets furious and asks why, because she was the only one girl on their team. Inho then apologizes to them for not telling them about this sooner, but it was already agreed that Soin would leave the team before the tournament started. He says that it's for personal reasons, so he can't tell him why, but he will get to see her again, but Garam asks if that means that they won't have a team manager from now on. Inho says that Young-hoon will have to, but then the guy who was flirting with girls earlier shows up, so Taehyun gets an idea. After that, Team Roman begins their practice and Taehyun throws the ball in the basket, but he missed the shot and the ball just rebounds. Inho then asks Taehyun if he is going to let Soin go like that because he is the reason she joined this team and she might stay if he says something. Taehyun then wears his socks and recalls what Soin told him, that he would think of her when he used that from now, so he should be careful not to get hurt again. At the same time, Young-hoon and Pilsung, who is the new team managers, are sitting on the bench together. Pilsung then asks Young-hoon curiously if Roman finally has enough players now, but Young-hoon responds that they are lucky they got enough people before the application deadline passed. Pilsung then asks him more about the application deadline for the tournament, so Young-hoon tells him that there is a rule that clearly says all 5 starters have to show up to register for the tournament together. Pilsung then asks why they have not signed up yet and when exactly is the deadline, so Young-hoon answers that it is at the end of April. After that, Roman is on their way as they are getting late for the registration. Dongwoo tells Inho that he is late on purpose just to make things more dramatic for everyone. After a while, the team arrives at the SMP application center and says that they are here to sign up for the tournament right now. Taehyun then whispers to Inho, asking how come they are the only ones around here at this time. Inho says that everyone else probably signed up 4 months ago already, so he is sure that they are the only ones who are signing up on the final day today. The SMP application guy says that foreigners are not allowed to play in the SMP tournament at all, but then everyone says that he is Korean, not a foreigner at all. The guy then tells all 5 starters to take a ball from the machine, and the emblem they get from the machine will play an important part during the tournament, so they should make sure not to lose it at all. Taehyun's emblem looks a bit different because of its faded color compared to others, so he asks the guy to change it for him, but he says it is against the rules completely. Later that day, Pilsung asks Taehyun if something happened between them because he has not seen Soin around lately at all. The next day after school, everyone arrives at the basketball court where Inho wonders out loud how they all got here so early, so Ildo responds that Choljin gave them permission to leave school early today. After that explanation, Young-hoon tells everyone gathered that this is the gym that Team Roman will be using from now on for practice, and unlike Taejin High School, this is a public facility that is used by other people in the community, so it will be hard for them to hold private practice sessions here without interruptions. Just then at that moment, a group of old geezers arrives at the gym and asks if they are Team Roman, so Young-hoon responds politely that yes, they are Team Roman. After an entire day of practicing basketball, Young-hoon asks the boys what they thought when they first saw Team Real and asks if they thought they were gonna win easily because they were much older than them. Young-hoon says that it's all because of teamwork, as Team Roman's biggest weakness is that they are a newly formed team, so their teamwork is very weak, and from now on Team Roman will hide their identity and play under the team name Loman. Furthermore, he says that they are going to keep playing practice matches against all kinds of teams, regardless of the tournament. This is all because they can use that valuable experience to find the playing style that fits their team the best, and by the time they go back to being Team Roman together, it will be 2 months from now during the SMP qualifiers tournament. Young-hoon explains in detail that the SMP qualifying period lasts 3 months total, and during that entire time, each team is allowed to play as many matches as they want against other teams. Moreover, Young-hoon continues that the qualification system features a betting system using emblems as currency for the matches. The 5 emblems that the starting players get when they sign up will serve as currency during the entire qualification period, with teams betting half of their current emblems every single time they play a match against someone. Furthermore, the winning team gets to take all the emblems that are bet on the match, and if they want to refuse a match, they have to give 1 emblem to their opponent team. However, Ildo asks if they should be playing matches instead of practicing right now, but Young-hoon says that under this system, as soon as one team gets ahead early on, things will turn into a scramble for the remaining emblems available. Garam then asks if the other teams would just refuse to play them because they don't have as many emblems as them right now, but Young-hoon says that he doesn't need to worry about that at all as he has a good strategy planned. The next day after school, Ildo and his squad visit Inwoo at his school and ask him to be his personal practice partner until they start playing for real in the tournament. After that request is made, they start their practice match together on the court. Meanwhile, at a different location, Young-hoon tells Taehyun seriously that even against Taejin High School, his playing style is clearly that of a point guard, and he tried to settle the match on his own in the final moment, but even that was the best decision in that situation at the time. Young-hoon then says that Taehyun has been avoiding the number 1 spot position for some reason, but he is the only person who can play as the point guard in Team Roman right now. Meanwhile, the red-head guy from the SMP Application Center watches a teaser of his tournament on his computer. The guy's assistant asks him curiously if he is watching a teaser that was posted 2 months ago, so the red-head guy says that it's because he does not like it at all. The guy continues and says that no matter how much he looks at it, it looks like the person who made this video did not put much effort into it. The assistant then provides him with some papers that he specifically requested earlier. The papers turn out to be about the SMP main round college player mentoring system, and he asks the assistant how long it has been since the qualifiers began for the tournament. The assistant tells him that it's been 2 months so far and they have a pretty good understanding of each region by now at this point. He further tells him that the video created by the one team right after the qualifiers began has been very effective for them, so since then, they have remained in first place consistently and look poised to make it onto the main round. In the video, the one team's player quickly does an amazing dunk and throws the ball in the basket that surprises everyone else watching. The guy then tells the camera directly that this video is for an advantage for all of them, so they should study this video carefully and challenge them to a match if they dare. Seeing that, the red-head guy says that they were not just trying to play games with other teams, as they knew that if they got ahead in the rankings, they would automatically get plenty of challengers coming after them. The only reason they made that video was because they were completely confident in their skills. The assistant replies that the team called The One is still within the tournament regulations and rules, but the problem is Crash, the second-place team in Taejun area. He further adds that there are rumors going around that Crash is involved in some shady dealings outside of the matches, and worse than that, there are reports that they have bribed one of the referees from the tournament headquarters officials. The assistant then tells him that Team Roman only has 4 emblems right now in total, so it seems unlikely that they will make it onto the main round with that amount. Just then, the vice president shows up and says that it's been 2 months since the qualifiers started, and now he wants to increase the number of teams that make it to the main round competition. The red-head guy responds and says that there is nothing bad in helping more people experience basketball and improve the sport, and he thinks it fits this tournament's goal perfectly well. The vice president asks him where he is going to find the fundings for this decision that he is making, so the red-head guy says that he will pay for it out of his own pocket without any problems. The vice president then decides to leave the matter to him completely but reminds him seriously that this tournament affects not only him personally but their chairman and their entire company's reputation as well. Meanwhile, Taejin players and Roman players are done practicing together and Team Taejin thinks that Roman has got so much better in just 2 months of training. However, Ildo says that it was their last practice match before they start playing in the qualifiers tournament, but there are still some players who are missing from the team. Meanwhile, at the same time, Taehyun is actually practicing his shots somewhere else with other players on a different court. Afterward, Taehyun calls Inho on his phone and says that he is a little late but he is on his way there now, so Inho tells him that it's going to take forever for him to get here from his location, so they will just give him his new uniform on the day of the match instead. However, Taehyun freaks out because he really wants to see his new uniforms as well right now, but Inho tells him to wait patiently until the day after tomorrow. The other guy at the court overhears that Taehyun does not have to go anymore, so they tell him to play a practice game with another team while he is here. Taehyun refuses the offer and says that he is having an important match in a few days, so he is going to rest now and not risk injury. On his way out of the building, Taehyun runs into a massive build guy who keeps looking at him intensely. The guy says that Taehyun seems familiar to him, but he is not completely sure where he has seen him before. The next day, Inho takes the team out to show them their new dream car, which is even bigger than the previous one they had. However, some of them start complaining that it's not even that big compared to what they expected, so Ildo tells them to stop complaining because this might as well be compared to a limousine when compared to their last car. Young-hoon then gives a short briefing before they arrive at their destination, saying the current first-place team in SMP tournament is a team called The One. They are a team that Inho, Taehyun and Young-hoon are already familiar with from before. Moreover, Young-hoon explains that they took the first-place spot through their aggressive strategy and have stayed in the lead ever since they started, and they have 44 emblems in total. At the second place is Team Crash with 36 emblems, and then there is Team Remember, who they are playing today, and they have 15 emblems. Young-hoon says that they do not have any information about Remember yet, but judging from the number of emblems they have collected, they are not a strong team. Dongwoo then asks Young-hoon that if they want to get first place in the qualifiers, then that means they have to win every single match they play, but Young-hoon says that there was an announcement yesterday that changed things. Last night, Young-hoon called Inho, who thinks jokingly that the reason Young-hoon called him so late at night is because he loves him. Young-hoon tells him seriously that there has been a new SMP announcement which said that they just doubled the number of teams that can qualify for the main round, and there are even tiers for each region, so even if they do not get first place in Taejeon area. Inho tells him to keep this thing a secret from others, and he should say that there is only one spot up for grabs, so they won't do good unless they play like they want to get first place. Back in the present, Taehyun is actually sitting on a bike with Pilsung driving, and he tells him that he was playing basketball all night yesterday without sleeping. Hearing that information, Pilsung gets mad and frustrated because Taehyun has his official match today and he might get tired and exhausted because of all that playing. After a while of riding, everyone arrives at the place where they are playing the qualifiers tournament. On the other hand, the SMP referees for the Taejeon region wonder if everyone is here from Team Roman yet. Just then at that moment, Team Remember enters the court and there are two girls in the team, and one of them asks the others what would happen if they have to start playing right away without warming up. However, the Roman players are stunned and surprised to see how pretty one of the girls looks on the court. Afterward, Taehyun and Pilsung arrive at the building where two bodyguards tell them firmly that they are not allowed to enter as the qualifiers are held behind closed doors only. Taehyun and Pilsung tell them that they are here to play as they are the members of Team Roman. Hearing that explanation, the guards tell them that there have been instances of people impersonating other players lately, so they want to see some identification first. Taehyun then shows them his emblem card and tries to enter through the door, but the guards refuse entry, saying he could be from another team trying to spy. Taehyun and Pilsung then force their way inside the court building past the guards, and the guards finally realize that they are actually real players from the team. However, Taehyun gets surprised to see Soan wearing Team Remember's jersey on the court. Young-hoon tells them that she is the captain for Team Remember and that is why she left Roman, but Soan says that she never meant to lie to them about it. Pilsung tells Taehyun to go say hi to her as it's been a while since they saw each other, but Taehyun completely ignores him and changes the topic quickly. Young-hoon tells them that it's not just that the score is close, they are starting to take the lead in the game, but the problem is the fact that Soan is the captain of Remember and it seems they have a good understanding of their team's strengths and weaknesses. Young-hoon says that this is the reason they are playing a box and one defense strategy, and they are trying to stop Inho's three-pointer shooting ability. In the match on the court, the ball gets to Inho who tries his best to run away and create space, but a girl from Team Remember follows him closely. Inho thinks that it's not just because she's a girl but because she has more stamina than most guys do. After that, Inho quickly passed the ball to Garam who is already facing another player in front of him. Garam quickly runs away from there and using his insane reflexes, he manages to throw the ball in the basket. Meanwhile on the sidelines, Taehyun says that it does not matter if they cannot score three-pointers because Garam is doing well enough on his own right now. Young-hoon responds and says that the problem is that there is another variable to Remember's attack strategy. On the other hand, the ball gets to number 39 from Team Remember and he easily throws the ball into the basket successfully. It turns out that the shot was a three-pointer which gets them 3 points easily without any trouble. Seeing that surprising play, Taehyun gets surprised, but Young-hoon explains that it's because remembers player Moon-young is 43 years old as of this year, and when it comes to scoring rules, SMP follows the same rules as the NABA rulebook exactly. Young-hoon explains that the NABA rules state that female players and any player who is over 40 years old get an extra point whenever they score a field goal successfully. Moreover, Young-hoon says that if the Remember team has a female 3-point shooter on their team, she could be a huge threat to them. So now, Young-hoon wants Taehyun to go in there and turn this game around as the point guard of their team. After that, the match continues with Garam running with the ball in his hands, and he tries to throw it into the basket, but the other team's member hits his hand, which causes the ball to not go inside the basket. After that play, Taehyun enters the court as a substitution for his team, but Team Remember also makes a substitution as well at the same time. How long do you think it will take for Team Roman to reach the SMP finals? Comment "Rebound" if you'd like a part 2 for this series. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more sports manhwa content.